You damn right. Hope everybody is having a good Friday. We are headed towards another big football weekend. Can the Longhorns get some things figured out in Lawrence? Can the Cowboys go to Minnesota and stop this thing the Vikings have going on? Those are the two big circuses we follow. Two big games in the Pac-12, high school football playoffs. We got a lot to get to today. It's Chad and Zay on this Friday. I'm Chad Hastings. Joined as always by Isaiah Collier, still riding the wave of Texas whipping Gonzaga, hoping the Longhorn football team does the same to Kansas. What's up, Zay?
That's right. Still riding that wave, Chad. And word on the street, there might be a big-time recruit that Chris Beard and this coaching staff have locked up by next week. Just word on the street. We're just saying that now.
You're saying
certain guy, big-time player, might be coming to the 40 because the Horns spanked that ass on the Gonzaga Bulldogs a few nights ago.
You're saying a 5-star might have watched that and cared about what happened?
Yeah, how can you not?
Cared about the atmosphere, cared about the crowd.
How can you not?
You know what he probably loved? He probably loved, look to your left, look to your right. You might find a friend and party all night.
Oh.
That might have been it.
Yeah, maybe he's a Beck fan and said, you know what? If I meet Matthew McConaughey, maybe I can meet Beck too. Who knows? That song, good grief. It's still the only thing bad about what happened in that game. The atmosphere, hype, the game, incredible. Tyrese Hunter, Serge Jabari Rice, Marcus Carr. We saw Dylan Mitchell dunks. And then the Matthew McConaughey Bless the Mood song. And I like the choir. The choir did their thing. But just that.
Maybe edit just to the choir. Go right to the choir.
Yeah. You could do a lot. And they chose to do that. But McConaughey's a big part of the reason why we got the moon. He has a lot to say. We know that. Whatever.
Don't worry, Zay.
You gotta take a little corniness every once in a while.
If this recruit comes to Texas, it just gives you guys more of a chance to make your gains as you move forward. All right, so we'll definitely hit some Texas stuff, get into a lot of football today. We've got our normal Friday guest coming up, the degenerate himself, Brandon Lang of BrandonLang.com. I got to give Brandon some credit on a couple things he said last week because he absolutely nailed a couple things. And then Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com at 2. Where's his mindset going into Texas and Kansas? Before we jump in here, though, a couple of serious notes. First off, we have not mentioned on the show yet because we're trying to, let the personal stuff be the personal, but it has now been said on the radio, I know it's been said on the radio a little bit, and we certainly are thinking of him. Craig Way, Craig Way's mom died last week, and they had the service yesterday, and he and his family are dealing with that. We want to send all of the best out to Craig. As always, the hardest working man in the business and one of the best play-by-play guys on planet Earth. He's been calling games and scheduling things around it and dealing with everything he needs to. So just all the best going out to the Way family. Such a tough time for them. His mom died at the age of 90. So we just
that's a good life.
Just want to say, rest in peace. She was an incredible woman. Every time Craig talked about her, man, it was just these incredible stories and everything. So just thinking of that family. And also, speaking of, this is a bigger sort of family discussion, but today is November 18th. And I just want to, as an Aggie, and on behalf of a lot of Aggies, I just want to say to all you Longhorn folks, the fact that y'all keep remembering the anniversary of the bonfire collapse blows me away. It blows me away. You have every right to never think of it, to not talk about it, to not tweet about it. But every year I see people commenting on it and the Longhorn world reacts. So I just want to thank y'all for that. Once again, I got to shout out Coach Mack Brown. I still can't believe when they asked him if he had anything to change in his last press conference, he said, obviously I believed one of them. He said, I want Cole Pittman to not have died. And then the next thing he said, and I don't want the bonfire collapse to have happened. I was just like, what? What did he just say? It was incredible. The show of love and emotion from this city to College Station in 1999. We're 23 years down the road now, and folks are still remembering. So thank you all for that. Zay, it's one of my favorite parts about a rivalry is the human part. of a rivalry. The fact that the Texas fans did that when that tornado hit Tuscaloosa a few years ago and the Auburn football team jumped on a bus and went over there and said, what can we do? That stuff is real, and the rivalries are what makes it. We know that. We know that hatred is there, but when it can be a brotherly hatred that can sometimes turn into pure respect, I love that stuff. So shout out to the Longhorn world for that. It keeps happening every November 18th.
Yeah, even though those are rivalries, it's close to home because College Station is right up the road, and everybody has somebody at least from College Station or went to Texas A&M, or somebody that went to Lubbock Texas Tech or is from Lubbock. So, it hits close to home and it's relatable. So you feel for that and you have empathy and sympathy for it. And yeah, those were just really terrible events. And yeah, I can't believe that too. I was so young, I really don't remember it,
Right.
but I do know how big of a moment it was, and not for the right reasons.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Yes, no, we are y'all's like crazy cult brothers that you'll claim every once in a while. Like, no, we invite a couple Aggies to Thanksgiving every year just because we have to. Old cousin Jed, he's an Aggie. All right, so we'll get started that way with a little bit of seriousness, but let's jump on into this football discussion. Speaking of seriousness, Longhorns may have a serious problem in Lawrence, Kansas. They had a problem with them last year. Can they get over it this time? Let's go spec set piece, and we'll talk Texas. And I will pull up the Big 12 scoreboard with lines on it, and I see it is still Texas by 9 over Kansas. Zay, as we sit here on a Friday, are you ready to throw a prediction? Do you know which way you're leaning for Texas and the Jayhawks?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Horns.
Okay.
Obviously I'm nervous. You have to be nervous about this team. Them being 6-4, the losses just coming, just question mark losses throughout the season. And the one that sticks out is clearly the TCU one. I mean, how can you have a team that scores 40-something points a game and then they score 17? Your defense is all over the field, but your offense only puts up 3 points. We're here on Friday, and I still can't understand it. So going into Lawrence tomorrow, which is going to be a frigid one. Now, it ain't going to be how it is in Buffalo, where they can't even play and they have to go to Detroit to play that Bills versus Browns game, but it could be in the 20s. The high is 36. I know the wind's going to be kicking. So we know Quinn Ewers struggles with those types of things. We've seen it before. And if I am Brian Borland, defensive coordinator for the Kansas Jayhawks, we know that they've struggled with the 3-high safety look, the 3-3-5. I heard Mike Harge ask Steve Sarkisian yesterday on the presser, hey, why do y'all struggle with that so much? And Sark gave a pretty deep answer. Like, it's just tough. We see it a lot, but it's still really tough to deal with, especially with a young quarterback like Quinn Ewers. And yeah, clearly he has the mechanic things to work on and, the accuracy things. Sometimes he's too cool when he throws. All that he needs to work on. But overall, it's a tough thing for Steve Sarkisian. So will Brian Borland say, hey, even though we run a 2-high safety look, been doing it all year, maybe we'll throw this at them every once in a while because we know they struggle with it. Now, on the other end, I'm looking at that, I'll take that in a way, because that means you're getting away with what you've done all year, and now you're trying to put something new out there. And that might be tough for a defense who gives up a lot of points and a lot of yards already. So, they should be able to move the ball on this defense, but we said that last week about TCU.
Yep.
And Steve Sarkisian, you're going on the road. You saw what Bijan Robinson did the last time you went on the road, 209 yards, 30-something carries. Get back to that formula. It's a good formula. It's good ingredients. That's good ingredients to winning, because when Quinn Ewers throws as many times as he did against TCU, as many times as he did against Oklahoma State, that is just destined for disaster, especially with the way these teams are going at them. And again, this Kansas State defense isn't anything to write home about. I think Kenny Logden is their best tackler at the safety spot. He's solid. Lonnie Phelps is a good edge rusher. Kobe Bryant, which I love the name, had a pick six against the Horns last year. I mean, how can you anybody named Kobe Bryant, he's got to have that dog in him.
That's going to make us all smile the rest of our lives.
Right?
Right? Like, if you love Kobe, you just love hearing that somebody thought enough about him to literally name their child after him.
Well, I mean,
when you're a Bryant.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Well, all these kids in college now, they were born in the early 2000s, 2003, 2004, and stuff like that. So that's when Kobe was killing them boys. Kobe and Shaq were doing it, and a lot of these parents, they saw that, and they saw Kobe, and how can you not love the smile and Hollywood and the Lakers? They're so popular, so you're going to see a lot of guys named Kobe Bryant, and I feel like I've seen that. So he can make plays, and he's going to be looking to make plays. So I'm not worried about the defense. That might be arrogant to say, but what they showed me last week, what I am worried about, I guess, is what are they preparing for? Are they preparing for Jalen Daniels, or are they preparing for, Jason Dean? And how much are they preparing for both?
Is it Bean, right?
Bean, I'm sorry, Bean. Yes, yeah, Jason Bean.
Yeah.
So both guys can run.
Yeah, I would hope the answer is yes.
Yeah.
They got to plan for all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Both guys can run. Bean could throw that thing. So we'll see tomorrow. But if you give that ball to Bijan Robinson like you should, which should open up the passing game for Quinn Ewers, hopefully these wide receivers could get open. Hopefully Xavier Worthy, maybe they can hit a deep shot because like we all been saying all week, we know he ain't going to take them.
Yeah, he definitely will. He definitely will take him. Now let's look at the weather situation. Somebody texted, hey, haven't heard mention of the frozen weather in Kansas. Greg, thank you for the question. Let's get into it. Now that I can see an hour by hour from weather.com, here's what it looks like. In the 2 o'clock hour, it is showing 34 degrees and sunny. And I've told you already, the high looks like it's not getting up. 34 is the high now at this point. So 34 degrees, sunny, wind 16 miles an hour. And we talked about it. When the wind gusts there, it gusts, and it's cold, and it's nasty. I would want to see if guys want to tackle Bijan Robinson in 34-degree weather. That's what I would – you don't want to tackle him anyway. Do you want to tackle him when it's 34 degrees? It'll stay 34 degrees through the 3 o'clock hour. It's basically the same. 33 in that 4 o'clock hour, 5 o'clock hour. You're getting into 29 degrees. Wind goes down, but the temperature does too. And by the time you get into that 6 o'clock hour when the game's going to end, 27 degrees and clear. So, Zay, we're talking high 20s, low 30s, no precipitation, 0% through all of that. But it's going to be cold and a little windy. So we watched them go to Stillwater. And Stillwater was where the wind was happening, right? Yes. Yeah. Where the wind was whipping and they still took those deep shots. So like you said.
Quinn has his finger jam, no fingernail. Yeah, that game.
We know that they are going to take those shots. How do they mix it up with Bijan? It's going to be a key. And I'm with you. I kind of think I am leaning towards Texas on a pick. And I do think there's some trust we can have with the defense. Like I've got like 34-23 is in my head right now. And I think that might mean it's 27-23 late. Texas may need that last score to stretch it a little bit. I think they'll hold to some field goals, but I think there's going to be scoring in this game. I think the defense will do what they did against Kansas State. Do enough, hold enough, maybe get a couple of, turnovers there. So that's kind of where I'm thinking, but I'm with you. It's a nervous kind of pick. And would anybody listening right now, anybody be shocked if Kansas beat Texas? I mean, seriously.
No.
If your answer is yes, then I'd like to know what you were doing last November because you clearly weren't watching those two teams play.
Yeah.
Daniels had a 94.1 QBR. Texas needed to throw 6 touchdowns just to keep up in that game.
Yeah, and Devin Neal, the running back for Kansas, he's averaging 6.8 yards a carry, leads the Big 12. If he has a big game, which we know the defensive line for Texas, that front seven, they're the vocal point. They're the main squeeze, as the old folks used to say back in the day. They're what it is for this defense that really allows the secondary to make plays. And the secondary, they made plays on Saturday against TCU. You know, they really surprised me. You know, Jahdae Barron, who's been playing well all season long, but how aggressive he was last week, especially with Deshaun Jamison being out. Now, hopefully, he could come back, which I'm comfortable with Terrence Brooks getting out there and getting some reps and letting certain guys get rest, because he showed you against TCU he could hold his own for the most part. Now, he definitely had that lapse against Quentin Johnston, him and Anthony Cook, but we know that's going to happen with freshmen. We can't knock them for that, for the complete game. Hopefully they don't have those lapses against Kansas, because we know that middle of the field is still vulnerable, and we know that Andy Kolenicki, offensive coordinator for Kansas, they're going to look to attack that.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. If you have anything on the Specs text line, 337-3776, Longhorn fans, we've had multiple people asking about that Kansas weather, so we just went over that. Low 20s into those 30s, but no precipitation. But that wind will whip. How's it going to look up in the 15-mile-an-hour range, 15 to 20, something like that? What will Texas do to adjust? We will see. So just expect to see a really clear, sunny day, but no, it is going to be cold. Texas and Kansas. Remember, it's a 2:30 kick tomorrow. So 10:30 a.m. We'll crank it up over at Lavaca Street Bar. This is the true Lavaca Street Bar because it's right there, 405 Lavaca Street. If you haven't been over there in a while, like I haven't, get on over there and see us. I'll be hanging out. The crew will be hanging out as well. Come on out and see us. For the watch party, going to have the free Squares game where you can win some stuff as well. And I'm told there may even be some food on site. Haven't been over there in a while. Last time I was there, I think it was like really good, like kind of hoagie sandwiches and meatball sandwiches and stuff like that. So I want to see what they have this time. The other big game, of course, Zay, we're covering around here, those Cowboys against the Vikings. I just pulled up the Cowboy injury report from the week. So tell me if this gives you any cause for concern if you're a Cowboys fan. So Anthony Brown, limited on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. You know, he's been a little banged up. Ezekiel Elliott, limited on Wednesday, limited yesterday. That's not good. This is good. Michael Gallup, full practice both days with the knee. That's a check mark. Here's the other way. DeMarcus Lawrence did not practice Wednesday or Thursday.
What's going on with him?
He's got a foot injury.
Ooh.
Makes it a little tough to go get people.
Yeah.
Good. Back to good news. Tyler Smith, knee injury, full practice both days. So Cowboys at the Vikings. We're going to get to our Supreme Picks coming up here at 12:30 to officially make the pick. Man, the Vikings are on an absolute roll. I still don't know how they got out of Buffalo with that win. But even if they had lost that game, Zay, I think there's still some momentum around this team. And as a Cowboys fan, I'm concerned about two guys. I'm concerned that Dalvin Cook might go crazy, and I'm concerned that Justin Jefferson might go crazy.
Yeah. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I don't think we talk about him enough because he's so young. It seemed like just yesterday, him and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, they were all just winning the national championship and beating the horns with DKR and stuff. That seemed like just yesterday. So
third and 17, was that play?
Yeah.
Third and 17, I think.
Yeah. Still
sorry to bring that memory up. It's the first thing I think of when I think of that game. I'm sorry. Continue, Zay. My bad.
Yeah, for sure. So I think we think of him as so young because there's guys like DeAndre Hopkins and there's guys like Devontae Adams. There's guys that have been in the league for a long time. I've been doing it for a long time. But Justin Jefferson, he's been a Pro Bowler every single year he's been in the league. From his rookie season, now he's in his third. He's going to go back again. He's always over 1,000 yards. And yes, you have an advantage when you play an extra game. I know Jerry Rice didn't have that advantage back in the day, and he's the greatest of all time. But, he's so tough to guard. You saw that unbelievable catch against the Bills, which gave them a chance to win the game. If he doesn't catch that ball, that's ball game.
That was fourth and 17?
Yeah, 4th and 18.
4th and 18.
Yeah, 4th and 18. And if he doesn't catch that, then He doesn't give his team a chance.
Man.
Josh Allen doesn't fumble in the end zone, and now they're 8-1 instead of sitting at 7-2. So they're rolling. They have so much confidence. We see what they're doing on the airplane with Kirk Cousins, and I'm like you too, with how weak at times this Cowboys defense has been giving up the run. Dalvin Cook, his eyes have to light up. And if you're that team, you got to give him his touches because that will open up everything for Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and now who should scare you, who's getting more and more acclimated to the offense, TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
People forget that he's over there. So each week he's getting more and more comfortable. Him and Kirk Cousins, their chemistry is getting better and better, and he's understanding the offense. And you got to know they're going to start utilizing him more and more week after week. So there's so many weapons that the Vikings have. Their defense, they're stingy at times. They definitely give up plays, but they will make big plays, and they got big playmakers. We saw Patrick Peterson make his 2 picks last week.
Oh, what a great play.
Oh, yeah. He's still a big-time cornerback. I don't know if he'll go to the Hall of Fame. He was on the right track, and then he got hit with that PED case. Yeah. So it's something weird going down with Arizona. I don't know that when he was in Arizona, he got hit with that. We saw DeAndre Hopkins just get hit with that. So, that's odd, but they got playmakers over there in Minnesota. We know Chris Boyd, talked about him yesterday and where he at in society. So I think it's going to be a good game, but it's going to be a tough one for the Cowboys.
So first off, a sidebar. I'm now watching, thank you for reminding me to watch the in-season Hard Knocks.
It's good. I haven't seen the second episode. It's good, though.
Any team coached by Cliff Kingsbury and quarterback by Kyler Murray, I'm going to watch on HBO. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
I am captivated by this thing. I'm watching it in little chunks so I can savor it. I'm watching like 15 minutes at a time, but it's so entertaining between those two, and Hopkins and Budda Baker is phenomenal. Budda Baker is one of the most entertaining parts of that show because he's such a legitimately just awesome guy and leader, and you can tell they all love him. So it's been fun to watch so far.
I enjoy it too. I gotta watch episode 2, especially with Colt McCoy starting this past week. So there'll probably be a lot of Colt McCoy talk and whatnot. But,
no, that's right.
Kyler Murray, he's an interesting cat. One thing I hate about Hard Knocks, guys that I don't like as much, or there's more guys I like in the league better than certain guys. Hard Knocks, it'll get you to respect certain guys. And Kyler Murray, even though he's a Sooner, and I know what he said to Sam and what Sam said to him after the game, that happened. I like Kyler a little bit, but that's just the Texan in him.
Yeah.
That ain't the Sooner in him.
Right.
He's a Texan. Yeah. So when he was talking about the weather and when it was raining a little bit, he was like, "Oh, you get sick in Texas with weather like this." I was like,
"You were trying
damn it, Kyler, I can relate."
You were relating.
I was like, "Damn it, Kyler."
That's HBO magic working on you.
Yeah.
They can figure out a way to make even you like Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it made me so mad. It's like the Ty Henderson thing. Like, damn it, Ty, I hate you so much, but I love you so much, man.
Oh, gone it.
Mayonnaise, tasting.
It's just terrible.
Raisin and the potato salad looking.
Wow, that's a whole nother layer right there. All right, we got the Supreme Picks coming up. By the way, in addition, including that Cowboys game, it'll be in the Supreme Picks. How about this? All 5 of our Supreme Picks this week, the road team is favored in all 5 games. We will get to that coming up. Crap Bag coming at 12:45. That will include the Scottish guy before Texas plays Kansas. Then we will get to Brandon Lang at 1:05. Does he like Texas -5? And what does he think of the Cowboys? I think it's -1.5 at Minnesota. Brandon's been pretty dialed in on those Cowboys throughout the season. He told you to take Green Bay +4.5 last week, and obviously he was right about that. More coming up. Supreme Picks are next on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Specs. Specs fine wine, spirits, and finer foods. I'm getting ahead of myself because I get excited. They've been around since 1962. Your one-stop shop with thousands of wine, spirits, and beers at everyday lower prices. So if you're trying to improve the plate on that Thanksgiving day, or you're trying to improve your tailgate on game day, stock up for everything. Game day or turkey day, save big with the lower prices on a huge selection of world-class wines, rare spirits, seltzers, ciders, craft beers. They've got all of it. Plus, if you want to support their November charity of the month, it is the Salvation Army. You can donate at checkout at your local Specs store. Obviously, the Salvation Army does incredible work in our community. If you want to join Specs in backing this great organization, make sure you tell them you do want to donate when you check out. Specs makes Thanksgiving as easy as pie with all those lower prices. And if you haven't had one of their famous pecan pies, you need to try that. The gourmet party trays, and they can help you there too. Plus, if you go online to specsonline.com, not only can you get online delivery for same-day delivery, you can also get different ideas for cocktails, for food. They've got all kinds of things from their experts to help you out. Specsonline.com will get you big savings on all of those fall cravings. Because remember, the fun starts at Specs. All right. Now that's starting in the 80s right there. Little Culture Club for the kids. If you can hear Culture Club and not move, you may have a problem. You may need to check something out. They'll get you moving now. Boy George and the crew, they were moving in the 80s. They were on MTV a lot. Culture Club. I'll tumble for you, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Uh-huh. Are you into Culture Club? Were you raised on Culture Club at all?
No, not at all.
No.
No.
Not a lot of Culture Club in the house?
No, not at all. He's like the White Prince, Boy George.
That's not.
And they're like the Revolution, but
You saying the Culture Club doesn't quite measure up to the Revolution?
no, they do their thing.
Yeah, they did do their thing.
They do their thing.
They did that. Yeah. You mean
I don't think they can hoop like the Revolution, but
probably not. Yeah. CC didn't have Culture Club playing at practice back in the day?
No, not at all.
Okay.
Oh,
Just checking.
CC did play the Rocky soundtrack only for Westlake games, though.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
Oh, I like that. Pull out certain music for certain things.
yeah.
Because he knows. He
Yeah,
knows
that's
to
right.
Dial it up. Well done, CC. He knows different games. He knows certain games are different.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Certain coaches, I think, have to realize that.
You have to. You have to embrace it. We were just talking about rivals. You have to embrace the rivalry.
Yeah, and that human nature thing does take over in a weird way. That's why Steve Sarkisian has one of the toughest jobs in America, because his team will never consistently look at their opponent the way the opponent always looks at them.
Yeah.
That's the price.
Don't tell Bucky Gobble that.
I know, but that's the price it's the price you
More
pay
than
as a blue blood.
anything. And I get it. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Bucky should know. He's a Yankees fan, isn't he?
Yeah.
Same thing. You can't tell the Yankees, hey, these Toronto Blue Jays. Man, stop. But the Toronto Blue Jays are always going to look at them a different way because they're the Yankees.
Oh, I heard Damian Lillard, he was asked when they beat the Lakers the other day, is there something different about playing the Lakers? He's like, yeah, it's the Lakers. Look at all the banners up there. You see
Right.
Kobe, the 8-24, this and that. And it was the Lakers, they've won 3 games this year.
Right, but none of that, that's the part that doesn't matter. That's the part that Laker fans, Yankee fans, Longhorn fans, and Notre Dame fans, and the list goes on, have to understand. You're always you. You can't come back with the excuse of, well, that team didn't even go to a bowl game. So you were still you. You were still wearing that uniform, that color, that brand, that logo. You're that big a deal. I am sorry. Good or bad, it's a big deal when they beat you. If Kansas beats Texas tomorrow in Lawrence, Zay, do you think people will storm the field?
Yeah.
I do too.
Oh, yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
I absolutely think they
It
will.
shouldn't happen. Remember, guys, revenge tour. I know we got a little knocked off our tracks on the revenge tour thing of Oklahoma State. We forgot about it. No, it's still on.
It should be.
It's still on. These guys embarrassed you last year at your home.
Yes.
And put up 50-something on you, too. Defense, with how you've been playing lately, that should hurt bad.
Yeah, it was the Hines variety. It was 57.
Yeah.
57.
Yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah, I like that on my steak. Hines 57. I don't like that on the horns.
That's right.
Not one bit. So let's get it together and bring it tomorrow.
I was always a little more of an A1 man. Hines 50,
I like A1 too.
Hines had a little bit of a weird little aftertaste to it that I wasn't always, a little vinegary.
Okay.
Yeah, not quite. I was always an A1 man.
It depends on the mood and it depends on how tough that steak is.
That's true. Depends on how much you need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, if that steak is like your wallet and you're trying to cut that thing and you're using all your might, you're like Popeye the spinach type might, and you still can't cut into it, then you might have to go with that Heinz 57.
You might have to go both.
Both, yeah.
You might have
Barbecue
to
sauce,
just go ahead.
ketchup,
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes, just completely disrespectful.
Just go. All right. It is Friday, and of course, we got all the high school football action for you tonight. Remember, Flex pregame at 6:30. All 3 of our teams are playing at 7:30 tonight. Lake Travis, Vandegrift, and LBJ, all at 7:30. And we will continue to get you lined up for those games. Lake Travis, remember, on 104.9. Vandegrift on 101.9 and AM 1260, and LBJ on 105.3 The Bat. All right, let's get into these Supreme picks. Shout out to John McClellan and the Supreme Lending team. I think they're in the overall lead right now. Chris Waters Realty, shout out to that crew. I think they've got somebody that's either tied with Zay and me for the best, team number, or they're right there. They're kind of lurking.
Dang.
We're at like 34 wins, and I believe that's tied for first place. So they are helping us out. Ultimately, we're raising money for charity. That's what it's all about. But, bragging rights are a part of it. So every week, it's 3 college games and 2 NFL games, as long as those last. And
now, who went 1-4 last week around here?
I believe
Weekday show. Who went 1-4?
I think 1-4 was that either morning or afternoon.
I know the afternoon did.
Okay. Did Bucky and Aaron also go 1-4? We went 2-3, and actually somehow that was decent.
Yeah.
Yes.
That week, that was a tough week.
It was rough, man. All right, let's see if we can bounce back here, Zay. I warn you going in, all road teams are favored. I'm going to warn you right now. Let's start in Waco. TCU at Baylor. The Fox crew is showing up, and I keep thinking every week, I'm wrong every week, but I keep thinking this has got to be the week it stops for TCU. This has got to be the week they can't get the energy back up. This has got to be the week that Max Duggan won't figure something out, but they keep winning games. What do you think?
Yeah, Baylor's 5-0 when they rush over 170 yards, and we know that's what Dave Aranda likes to do, but after they got blown out last week by Kansas State 31-3, that's just embarrassing at home. It's hard for me to see them winning this game. And if TCU brings that defense that they brought to DKR to Waco, then I don't think Baylor has a chance. I mean, I think they're going to get back to the 40-point scoring. Yeah, and look what Sonny Dykes and this team have to play for. They're in the top 4. They control their own destiny on winning out, and I think making it. I don't think they would get screwed over. I think the Big Ten is weak enough with one of those teams out of Ohio State and Michigan that team will be out. So they need this game. They got a lot to play for, and I like TCU.
Yeah, I think I do too. I think I'm going to lean that way with you, and I think there's a chance that Iowa State game may trip them up. They'll be in Fort Worth and maybe looking forward to the Big 12 title game, but I'll say this week doesn't slip them up. We'll go TCU there. All right, how about the rivalry game in L.A., the Battle of Los Angeles, USC at UCLA? Zay, I'm kind of leaning the way Brian Jones was yesterday. I'm kind of leaning towards that UCLA defense.
Oh, wow.
What do you think?
Oh, man, I don't know. You saw Caleb Williams yelling at his teammates last week. They were up by like 20-something, and he was still yelling at them. It was kind of motivational, but it was kind of like, hey, we better get our ish together. So he leads the Pac-12 in touchdowns with 31. He only has 2 picks. UCLA, they had that loss to Zona last week, Arizona, and kind of like Baylor with the loss to Kansas State. It was just kind of a head scratcher. So I don't see them winning this game. And we talked about all the away teams are favored. This really isn't an away game.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
a good point.
For USC, they're going up the road. So we can say that this is kind of, and we know USC, they're going to have more fans anyway. UCLA, their fans don't give a damn. Basketball season started. They really don't give a damn. So USC fans, they're going to be the majority. I like USC to win this game. Plus Jordan Addison, I think he comes back too. He's been injured. Yeah, give me the Trojans.
The Trojans can say, come on, man, it's an away game. We live way over there by 5 blocks, right over that
in
way.
Compton.
Yeah. All right, well, the tiebreaker rules say we're going USC because they are the favored team, so we're picking 2 road teams to start. How about Utah at Oregon? Utah is favored in this one. This feels like a kind of game Oregon lets you down in, although Bo Nix and that crew have been playing pretty damn well. What do you think of that game?
I don't know how healthy Bo Nix is going to be. He got a little banged up in that Washington game, which they lost. And now coming into this Utah game, I don't think he's going to be 100%. Now, if he was 100%, I might take the Ducks, but the fact that he's not, he's such a big part of that offense, I think I like the Utes.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there, too. All right, 3 road teams in college. That scares me, but let's move on. Cowboys at the Vikings. You know I'm a Cowboys fan, Zay. You know I want them to win, but if I got to pick it, I think Minnesota wins this game. What do you think?
Yeah, the fact that it's in Minnesota, what A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones did to the Cowboys defense last week, and we saw what the Packers did last night. They're not even good. So it makes you think, like, what the hell were y'all doing, Dan Quinn, Mike McCarthy? I mean, come on.
Yep.
Y'all couldn't beat that team, but, oh, it's the kryptonite thing. It's Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, whatever. If Dalvin Cook runs the ball like they should, I don't think the Cowboys have much of a chance. Now, Kellen Moore, if they run the football and you utilize guys like Malik Davis, like you should.
Here we go.
Like you should. I know Ezekiel Elliott's not there. I know Tony Pollard, we're kind of putting him at the number one, 25 touches last week. I like that. Over 115 yards. I like that. But you got another running back that's not bad, that had a pretty good average for carry.
He did.
And Malik Davis. So maybe if they believe in him more and then limit Dak's attempts, I mean, CeeDee Lamb had a good game last week. They have a chance, but I just can't see them touching this Vikings team right now. They're 8-1. They rolling.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We'll go Minnesota there. If Ezekiel Elliott's able to play, I would give the Cowboys a better chance because Kellen Moore believes in that. We'll see, though, if he believes in Malik Davis or not. And finally, Zay, Kansas City at the Chargers on a Sunday night. There is no way I could lean towards the Chargers in a primetime game. I just don't trust them. I'm leaning Mahomes here.
No, how can you trust them? You know, the Chiefs, they're starting to roll. Kadarius Toney, he's starting to get more acclimated to the offense. I heard Travis Kelce talking with his brother, Jason Kelce, on their Pretty Cool Brother podcast that they have together.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Jason asked him, how's Toney been? And Travis Kelce's like, oh, man, Giants, y'all effed up. Y'all effed up. I don't know what's going on.
Yep.
And then he goes, I don't care what's going on. This dude is serious. So if he, figures out this offense, this Andy Reid offense, and him and Patrick Mahomes start to find a rhythm, look out. Then on the other side, it's the exact opposite with Justin Herbert. Mike Williams, he's been out on IR, and then Keenan Allen, he's been out for a long time. So that's been the biggest, Justin Herbert, that's been the biggest issue with him. I know people been getting after him a lot, and, he's been good his first few years in the league, but you need good wide receivers also to make a good quarterback. He doesn't have that right now. Chargers have no chance. I like Chiefs.
Yep, we'll go that way. All right, we're going 4 road teams, TCU, USC, Utah, and Kansas City, and we'll take the Vikings to beat the Cowboys. Hope we are wrong about that one. That's just picking winners, though. We'll see what Brandon Lang thinks of the lines coming up at 105. Again, shout out to John McClellan, Supreme Lending, and Chris Waters Realty for helping us with those Supreme picks. We get those to you each Friday at 12:30. Up next, it is the Crap Bag featuring the Scottish Guy before Texas plays Kansas. Stay with us. It's the Horn. Oh, come on, Tom. Whoo! Rest in peace to the great Tom Petty. I still can't believe he's gone. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. I need to know. My favorite American rock band ever.
Tom Petty?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Always makes me happy. Always makes me feel good when I hear Tom Petty stuff.
I mean, you did disrespect him and say that he's not a sex symbol.
He is not a sex symbol.
He is a sex symbol.
No, he's not. He is a grimy-looking dude from Florida, and I love him to death.
Female listeners, and if you roll that other way and you feel comfortable with your sexuality, even if you don't, to say Tom Petty is a sex symbol, let us know.
Hey,
because
look.
Chad has clearly lost it.
Look,
He was a sex symbol.
I don't know what this says. I don't know what this means. I'm just going to tell you this is the truth that just popped in my head. If you're attracted to Tom Petty and you're a straight woman, I got questions. If you're attracted to Tom Petty and you're a gay man, we really need to talk. I mean, we really need to talk. I need to know exactly why you're interested in Tom at that point. We got to talk.
You're a gay man, you like Tom Petty. If you're a straight woman, you like Tom Petty. Makes sense to me.
Now, if the pretty factor is about the same level, if you are about as grimy looking as Tom Petty, then yeah, sure, you're good.
I get it. If he wasn't the singer, if he was just Joe Smo.
Yeah, right. No, Tom's cool as hell, man. He was so I saw Tom 3 times maybe live. Incredible live show. His guitar player, Mike Campbell, still rocking all over the place, Fleetwood Mac and the other projects and stuff. It's one of the greatest rock shows I've ever seen in my life, and Tom was amazing. They did incredible stuff with MTV. To look like he looked, again, just a simple-looking dude from Florida, to me, not strikingly handsome, right, for the 80s, but they figured out their niche. They made badass videos that no one could forget, and they wrote songs that are just legendary. Wonderfully simple rock songs that are legendary. You can hear them today, and it just brings you back. It's perfect.
Tom Petty had that he has that feminine but tough look about him.
I can see that. Yeah.
Which and plus he had the voice, and obviously the Heartbreakers. Because
he's kind of got that long face going, right?
Yeah. He had the bite, but I don't know. There was something about him that women loved.
I think you just hit on something, because I've admitted over the years I'm attracted to certain women in this category. Tom is kind of in the male sexy horse category.
Yeah.
That's kind of where he is.
Yeah, I love a good horse face too.
Yeah. He's in the stable. Yeah. He's a stable guy. And I never thought of it that way. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Horseface legend.
Horseface
Jesse from Saved by the Bell.
There you go.
Horseface legend.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt about it. If you haven't seen Showgirls, please find this movie. Watch it. We're
over and over.
You and me, darling, we are the same. All right. Let's get into the crap bag here. We got a little Scottish guy for you. Let's go.
Chad's crap bag.
Crap bag. If you need an easy way to remember it, just think of a bag of crap.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. All right, Texas about to play Kansas. Let's see if the Scottish guy has a thought. You know he does. Here we go. It's the same old situation. It's the same old ball and chain. I said no. Well, forget the early December trip to Dallas unless this team can figure out its issues and K-State slips up. Last Saturday at DKR cemented one simple fact for the Burnt Orange Army. Sark will take the deep shot no matter what until he hits it, and maybe even after he hits it. And why? Because Sark is that guy. He's the guy that sees the cliff and wants to go cliff diving, not hiking or picture taking. He's the guy that loses 10 rolls in a row at the craps table, finds a chip in his pocket, and says, "Give me those dice."
He's the guy that uses the same bad pickup line 5 times and believes the 6th girl won't slap him. He's the one that says, "Hold my beer, I know what went wrong," and heads out to tip that cow the day he gets his cast off. And he is your buddy on that par 4. You've seen him hit water, trees, and a group of nuns playing the hole. Never a fairway, never a green, but every time he says the same stupid 4 words. Give me the driver. Yes, Sark is that guy. Now there's only 3 things to do. 1, pray he hits the deep shot early so you can get on with it. 2, pray he throws the deep shot to someone else, because option 1 doesn't seem to work. And 3, pray CDC has his list updated. Okay? Okay. Family on 3. UT62, last year had to have been a COVID dream. 3. This is SG, DEEP, SHOT.
My God, it can never be happy. It can never, ever be happy. All right, Scottish Guy every Friday during football season around 12:45 here in the Crap Bag. Another crap bag kind of item while we have a second. Zay, did you see that the guy who called the Titans offense to a victory last night got pulled over early this morning for DUI?
That's what I'm talking about.
The heck is going on?
Yo, you saw how cold it was in Lambeau last night?
Yeah.
You know, in his mind, he was saying, yo, once we get a dub and get out of here, I'm going to have me a few.
Come on, Todd Downing. Come on, man.
Come on, coach. Don't go out on Broadway when you get back to Nashville and live it up. And then I don't know how fast you were going. I don't know how you were swerving, but clearly you were suspicious. And the Nashville PD said, yo, let's pull this guy over.
Dude, he went
brutal.
This says he went through the intake process at 4:36 a.m. You couldn't just go home and go to bed?
Yeah.
You beat that Packers team. And by the way, you did it definitively. You didn't do it some last second. You pounded on them like you're supposed to with Derrick Henry. You won a game. You're moving on. You're 7-3. And you get home, and that's all you can think to do?
Knowing Mike Vrabel, they definitely watched film till like 4 a.m. and they were definitely popping cold ones all night.
Man,
so,
you think it was drunk film study?
Oh, hell yeah, it was drunk film. That's the best film study because you just won. So
right.
Now you got to go over what happened, but you just won. So how bad can it really be? But we're all drinking, having a good time. Yeah, absolutely.
Man, that's crazy. 6:40.
Did you see Vrabel last night dapping up Derrick Henry and stuff? That's a fun group.
Yeah, it is.
That's a fun group. They got their own handshake and stuff. That's a fun, tough ass group.
If you can, I mean, if they can get you into their kind of game, they are so dangerous. But the part of last night that I would mention to people, Derrick Henry, he got the carries. By the way, Underdog Fantasy, 2 straight wins for me, including the Derrick Henry carries going higher and the Aaron Rodgers attempts going higher.
Okay.
Yeah, baby.
That's what I'm talking about.
Those are the 2 I got.
I thought you would have benefited off Derrick Henry throwing the pass.
No, but oh my God, how scary is that for a defense? Only 3rd time in his career that he's done it. The idea that Derrick Henry could ever throw a pass, that is insane. And if I'm that linebacker diving in or whatever, you can't get mad at me for doing that.
Yeah, maybe Sark should do that with, I don't know, Roschon Johnson.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a
oh man,
good idea.
Wow.
But last night you got good Tannehill, 22 of 27, 333, 2 touchdowns and a pick. If they can combine those 2 ideas and Tannehill can make big throws, Tennessee is particularly dangerous. The problem is the bad Ryan Tannehill can show up at any moment.
Any moment. We saw it last year, first round of the playoffs where they played the Bengals. I mean, they were rolling in there, the number 1 seed, and he has one of the worst games I've ever seen.
It was terrible.
And you're like, wow, what are they going to do? Now A.J. Brown leaves, and the fact that they're here, man, I'd look at Mike Vrabel and think he might be coach of the year with what he's doing.
Let's give the young kid his love, too, because Treylon Burks was a guy that when they drafted him, I didn't know if he could be a 1 in the league. He's working his way towards that, but he hit another one. He did this at Arkansas, too, man. Those go routes with him, he's really good at tracking the ball in the air and finding and, working at the ball in traffic. 7 catches for 111. They targeted him 8 times. Treylon Burks is a big reason they won that game last night.
Yeah, he had that deep shot early, and Robert Woods, when he's healthy, he could be solid too. So even with A.J. Brown leaving to go to Philly, if those guys get more and more involved with Derrick Henry and the run game, I love the screen pass they threw for Derrick Henry yesterday. Maybe they should do that more with Bijan Robinson. But,
Number 2.
But, just saying, there's a lot of good stuff that Tennessee did last night. Aaron Rodgers didn't look good either. He missed some very easy throws that you normally see him making. And, he got booed a little bit yesterday at Lambeau, which is interesting to see.
By the way, when we get back to talking Texas and Kansas at some point, I thought of a play they need to run, and they can pick any running back to do it. Any running back. We'll talk about that as we move along. Coming up, Brandon Lang, his thoughts on the games, including does he like Texas -9? You're about to find out on the Horn. Oh, yes, indeed. Let's go hour number 2 on a Friday. Getting ready to head into another big football weekend. Remember, high school playoffs rolling 6:30 tonight for the Flex pregame show. And we've got Lake Travis and Vandegrift and LBJ all on the Austin Radio Network. We'll set those kick times for you coming up in the Flex segment. We got Cowboys getting ready for the Vikings. We got the Longhorns getting ready for Kansas. And to dig into those a little more and start talking about those picks, let's get to one of our favorite segments of the week. It's the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. He is Brandon Lang. Check out BrandonLang.com. Check out Believe Me, the show he does with Cordell Stewart. And Brandon, before we get started, I got to give you your love from last week because Brandon told all of you that TCU was the right side of the game. That hit. He told you Green Bay was the right side of the game with the Cowboys. That one hit. He told you Ole Miss plus 12. That one hit. But Brandon, this is the one I've got to give you specific credit for. You said you would stay away from Arkansas and LSU. But if you had to, you'd buy Arkansas up to plus 3.5. Bang. Or you'd take LSU minus 2.5. Bang. Either way, well done, sir.
Well, I roll into Garcia's at the Aria last night. I'm have a little Mexican, sit at the bar, watch the football game, and so I roll in. There's two hotties sitting at the bar, and I immediately recognize them.
Yeah?
Google the names Jules Ventura and Giselle Blanco.
All right.
They're the two porn stars that live in Vegas. So,
fair enough.
So they're sitting there watching the game, and Jules evidently was married to the Major League Baseball player Bill Hall, caught him cheating, and to get back at him, went into porn. That's the story.
Wow.
That's the story. It's all over the internet. So I knew who she was from that, but she also bets games. So and they both are, I guess, all porn stars, escort or whatever. I guess that's what they do. But in watching the game with them, evidently they were there meeting clients and decided to have a little something to eat before they whatever. And she bet the game, and she's pissed because Aaron Rodgers is burying her, and it was just hysterical. Like, then she finds out I'm handicapped. She's like, "Give me games."
Oh man!
She gave me her number, whatever. But it's just. I sat back. I laughed after Marguerite just came home and chilled. But I just literally say to myself sometimes, like literally. Like, there's other Mexican places in town. I just like Garcia's. And if you've been to Vegas, getting into the Aria is really a pain in the butt. It's one of my favorite properties. It's just hard to get into.
Right.
But I was down in that area doing some shopping. I'm like, let me just pop over. And I was able to walk over based on where I was parked. But I was driving home, and I'm saying to myself, how does this stuff happen to me? Like how? I don't plan this. I'm just a single guy now that's rolling into the Aria to have a little Mexican food at the bar. Bam! I'm like, is there some hidden force that's just tempting me just to blow money? I just was like scratching my head saying it's probably best that I live up in the Summerlin area, and the only casinos up here are Red Rock, and there's the Rampart, which is, you're up away from the Strip.
Yeah.
So
it's just safe that I just stay up here. Just
yes,
just two. My gym is here. My daughter's here. Everything's here. Everything I need's up here. Let's just stay. I'm going to stay away from the Strip. That's my.
It's a good play.
Story, but
good play.
So,
anyway,
so I'm guessing the Veronica thing didn't work out.
Oh no! We're having no. You brought that up. We went to the movies the other day. Had lunch. So that's a whole different story.
Oh my God.
That's a whole different time. She's now on the let's just hang out, like your energy's great type deal now. Now it's just we're buds.
Nice.
Like anyway.
It's fantastic. All right, so Brandon, let's dig on in here. We'll start with the Longhorns as we normally do. Longhorns at Kansas, and it's -9 right now. After what you saw last week, where are you on Sark's group?
What's the total?
The total, hang on, sorry, I didn't have that one in front of me. The total is 63.5.
Unbelievable. Didn't even know it. I swear to God on my daughter's life, I didn't know it until I was 64 before you said 63.5 on my daughter's life. that game can't stand her. Because I'll be absolutely shocked if against that defense and based on what everybody else has done, like Baylor's offense isn't that good. They put up 40 on Kansas. Kansas is going to score at home. I know Texas' defense has played well, but I'll be shocked if Texas and Sark don't put up 40. That means you need 24 from Kansas, which I think you got. I like the over, and I'd stay away from the side.
All right, fair enough.
All right, B. Lang, we got TCU and Baylor. TCU -2.5, which is interesting. Like you said, Baylor can't score, and Baylor got blown out last week to Kansas State, and we know what TCU did to the Horns. Who you like in this matchup?
I'm going to go back to one of my favorite movies in reference to Baylor and what happened to them last week against Kansas State. When Dennis Hopper got in the huddle, he was all nervous and shaking because Gene Hackman got thrown out of the bench, out of the gate. And Hopper's sitting there, and he goes, "Now, whatever we do, don't get caught watching the paint dry on the picket fence." And I firmly believe that last week, Baylor got caught watching the paint dry on the picket fence, looking at this game right here. Think about it. Baylor goes into, I forget where they went. They went in and blew somebody out, and Kansas State gets blown out. And you kind of just throw it all together. And I liked Baylor last week plus the points, one of the few games I lost. And they just no-showed. And if they're facing a team coming off a straight up and against the spread win, and they're in conference revenge, they're 13-1 against the spread as a dog, and at home, 8-0 against the number. In this situation, you're in the Final Four. Be careful what you wish for, because now you're a 3-point road favorite with all the pressure in the world. And I think Baylor shocks the world on Saturday.
All right.
Oh, man.
There you go. Likes that outright Baylor. And that is where the Fox folks will be, which means, Brandon, they will not be in L.A. for the Battle of Los Angeles. USC, UCLA at the Rose Bowl. USC favored by 2.5. I know the game will look good. It always does. What do you think happens?
That's my second underdog that I like to shock the world, because UCLA last week got caught watching the paint dry in Arizona. And we're looking ahead. There's 3 games that we're going over today where people got caught watching the paint dry from a liquored up assistant coach who filled in. And I like UCLA to bounce back. USC, Lincoln Riley, 6-14 against the numbers of road chalk in conference games over the course of his career, including 1-9 against the spread if he's facing an opponent coming off a loss of 6 or more points. Bruins, 5-0 against the spread versus single conference revenge. And they put a hurt on USC last year, 62-33. 11-5 against the spread as a home dog since 1990, including 5-0 against the spread as a home dog against undefeated opponents. Against defeated opponents, one loss opponents.
Wow.
UCLA.
All right. Zach?
All right, B. Lang, we got Utah going into Eugene, Oregon to play the Ducks. Oregon lost a brutal game last week against Washington, and Utah's coming in there with maybe Bo Nix being banged up. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if he's not. Who you like in this one?
All reports are Bo is playing right now.
All right.
Okay.
You have an Oregon team that in their last 24 home games are 23-1 outright in their last 24 home games. They're coming off a loss. They're 5-0 against the spread at home with revenge. You look at the Utes, shouldn't have beat USC, lost on the road to UCLA, lost on the road to Florida. Washington State had them on the ropes on the road. So I get that people are like, oh, wow, Utah's playing better. They haven't played anybody. I don't know if Lanning should have went for it on 4th and 1 with 1:20 to go, just punt it away and go win the game in overtime. That's something he'll probably have to regret for a while. If you guys didn't see the game, he had 4th and 1 on his own 35-yard line, tied at 34, 1:20 to go, punt it away.
Yep.
Just punt it away. That was, again, penalties, turnovers, coaching, stupidity, 3 things you can't handicap. So with that being said, if Bo Nix plays, I really love Oregon in the game a lot. I don't know enough about the backup, so wait to see if he's playing. If he is, Oregon will win the game outright.
There you go. Talking to Brandon Lang. Brandon, college-wise, what is the other? That Georgia-Kentucky game, I'm seeing a 22.5 line on Georgia. Is that a game you'd go near?
You're giving me Kentucky plus 22, and I believe the game is in Kentucky.
Correct. Yep.
So they lose to Vandy outright last week. Once again, got caught watching the pace drop. I mean, it's like all these teams
It is.
just didn't, you scratch your head and go, Vandy really went into Kentucky and beat them outright. So I actually like Kentucky as a home dog. I like Arkansas. Wait to see if Jefferson is playing. Think about this. You're Ole Miss. You run the ball right through Alabama and get down to their 16-yard line. They can't stop the run. Your boy, the freshman, is running all over on them on the last drive. You got a minute 20 and 2 timeouts at Bama's 16-yard to win the game outright. What do? A, keep running the football, use your timeouts, and win the game outright? Or B, let's throw 4 times incomplete and lose? What did Lane Kiffin do? B, go to the Family Feud. Bad answer. Guys, I swear to God. So now you're telling me Ole Miss is going to get up, no SEC championship, no nothing. They got nothing. What's Lane going to say on the plains? God, we playing that Blue Bonnet Bowl or that Firestone Bowl now. We playing the Firestone Bowl. Y'all get new tires for all your rides. So let's just get all fired up. Let's get liquored up, and let's go into Arkansas and play like our life depends on it and get that Blue Bonnet Bowl or that Firestone Bowl, guys. That's why you came to Ole Miss. You came to Ole Miss playing Firestone Bowl and the Blue Bonnet Bowl. Okay, get fired up now. Let's go now. Let's go now. Remember John Voight and Varsity Blues? Let's go now. Let's go now. That big fat offensive guard who couldn't move. He wanted to believe he scores a touchdown in the game. Oh, have mercy. So I'm going to go with Jefferson plays. I am all over Arkansas, like all over Arkansas if Jefferson plays and if Bo Nix plays. Although, y'all, you got to worry about the hot dog vendor in the third level. I'll take Oregon plus points.
There it is. Brandon, we miss anything in college before we move on to the NFL?
No, we did not.
I got you. I got one for you, Brandon.
Oh, one more. Go ahead.
We won't be able to talk to you next week. Right now, that big-time rivalry, Michigan and Ohio State. It's Ohio State minus 7.5. Since we won't talk to you next week, who you like in that one?
I knew that's what the line was going to be. I called 7. And I'll take Michigan plus the points. They just all year long. And that Northwestern game, granted, there's a little bad weather, but you're talking about a Northwestern team that lost to Miami of Ohio 17-14. If you're Ohio State and you're at that elite level, bad weather or not, you've got to beat Northwestern 49-7. It was a one-score game in the fourth quarter. Ohio State really hadn't played anybody all year, boys. So give me Michigan plus the 7.5.
All right, let's go NFL, Brandon. Let's start with the Cowboys. Cowboys and Vikings. Cowboys minus 1.5. You've had a pretty good handle on these Cowboys throughout the year. What do you think?
This makes no sense to me whatsoever. Like, no sense to me, this game right here. Like, how in the world could Minnesota be 8-1 and be a dog at home? Like, they're begging you to take Minnesota.
Yeah.
Begging you. Dallas, 3-19 against the spread as the conference favorites versus opponents with a win percentage of greater than 600. 3-11 straight up, and 0-13-1 against the spread as the favorite of fewer than 4 points. Every number in the world, every stat in the world, every single thing in the world tells you to take Minnesota. I can't lose with Mister. You like that? You like that? I can't do it. I just can't. I still can't believe Minnesota's 8-1. I just can't. For whatever reason, I can't. I believe Kirk Cousins makes mistakes when he's pressured, and I think he's going to be pressured. And coming off that emotional win in Buffalo to come back home, and Dallas seems to play best when everybody just hammers them all week long for what happened in Green Bay.
Yeah.
195-0, leading by 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. How about that? How about having a money line play on Dallas or Dallas and a teaser just to win?
Yeah.
Imagine having a 14 parlay Dallas money line for $15,000 off a $400 bet, man. You're thinking Rhino, Crazy Horse 3, taking it deep, Star Trek. Then they flash the stat 195 at you're like, boys, we're taking it deep, baby. We're taking it deep. 35 minutes later. Everything says Minnesota. Everything.
Hmm.
I'm looking for Dak to bounce back and for the Dallas defense to bounce back and pull off the upset.
Whew, I hope you're right.
Whew, it's going to be a big-time game. All right, a big-time game also in the AFC East. The New York Jets are going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots, and if you've seen what we've seen in Buffalo, it should be cold up there. It's -3.5 for the Patriots. Who you like in this one, B-Lang?
Years ago when I was in my 20s, there was an Asian dancer at the Crazy Horse 2 that just owned me. She owned me. She absolutely owned me. If I walked in the door, it was like, here's my wallet. Just take as much as you want. Yeah, I admit it. I admit it. I was a dummy. Let me raise my hand. In my office, I was a dummy. But she just owned me. She absolutely owned me. I literally wanted to marry her. She wouldn't do it. That was the one pull B-Lang could not pull on the face of the planet Earth. Her name was Jenny. Not Jenny like Forrest Gump Jenny. Although I think Jenny did work in a strip bar in Forrest Gump. That's a whole other story. The whole point of this story is Bill Belichick owns the Jets. Just does. And he sure as hell owns Wilson, the quarterback. 13 straight times. 13 straight times the Jets have lost to the Patriots. And now they got to go into New England with this quarterback who's a deer in the headlights when it comes to Belichick by the half point, late 2.5 New England.
There you go. All right, Brandon, let's see. What's another good? Give me another one in the NFL because nothing else is jumping out to me right now. What am I missing?
Two more games for you. One. In their last 26 divisional games that they have won, the Cincinnati Bengals are 25-1 against the spread.
Whoa.
Let me say it again. In the last 26 divisional games that the Bengals have won, they've covered 25 of the 26. So if you think Cincinnati is going to beat Pittsburgh, then you lay the number and take Cincinnati because chances are they're going to cover the number. And last but not least, I don't know why people like Chicago over Atlanta. Like everybody I talk to, like Chicago. You're Chicago's defense. The last 3 weeks, you gave up 49 to Dallas, 35 to Miami, 31 to Detroit. What makes you think you're just all of a sudden going to go down to Atlanta, who's well-rested, coming off an embarrassing performance on Thursday night against the Panthers, and win? And the line's -3. Buy Atlanta down to 2.5. They should score 30.
All right. Likes Atlanta there.
B-Lang, I know you like your college basketball. Any sleepers that you got with it? Basketball just starting out?
San Diego University. Keep an eye on them.
USD, baby.
You just asked me. Steve Lavin is their coach. He went to the transfer portal. He's got thoroughbreds. They took on Utah State last night, plus 8.5 at home. Had them. Small money line play. Had the game won outright. Lost by 2 in OT. He's got a little squad there. Everybody's going to talk about Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference. Keep an eye on San Diego. The Toros. Don't get a little Toro roll at your favorite sushi place because they take the tuna that has been around for a while, and that's what they put in the rolls. Little sushi secret. Don't ever get tuna in a tuna roll at a sushi place because that's not the fresh tuna. Just trying to help you out there. Just trying to help
Good
you
looking out.
That's good. Yeah, no, that's helpful.
There, San Diego Toros, and you're good to go.
Very nice. That's Brandon Lang, BrandonLang.com. Check out Believe Me, the show he's doing with Cordell Stewart as well. Brandon, we always appreciate it, man. Have a great Thanksgiving. Tell Veronica and all the other girls we said happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
I'm going to get Veronica over here before the season's over to say hello in her Russian accent on air.
Oh, it'd be a gift. It'd be a gift.
We'd appreciate
we
that.
would appreciate it.
Before the season's over, I gotta figure out a way to make that happen.
Beautiful.
I'll try. Can't promise anything, but we'll see what happens.
Thank you, brother.
Happy Thanksgiving, boys.
Brandon
Thanks,
Lang, ladies and gentlemen, it is always an adventure. Coming up, it is your Flex 30 segment, area round of the playoffs ready to go, plus a player shout out I got on Twitter from way away from where we are right now. The power of the app and the internet and Flex coming up on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk Apple leasing. You want to give somebody a great Christmas gift? How about a car? Yeah, maybe you got a student in the house that's going to be heading off to college next spring, and you want to lease them a car. Make sure they get a really nice new car. See, that's the key with Apple leasing. You'll be paying for the part of the car that you're using, the new part of the car. You don't have to worry about something that's old and beat up and needs all kind of attention on the backside of things. You don't want your kid driving off to college in something like that with 100, 200,000 miles on it. No, you want to get that newer side of things, and that's what Apple Leasing can help you do. Or maybe you are like me recently this year and needing a new car and needing a little upgrade and things. Tell them what you're looking for. Any make, any model, any car, any truck. Maybe you want to go SUV. Maybe you want to go big SUV. Maybe you want to go truck. Maybe you want to go big truck. They've got all kinds of choices. They will go around and do the searching for you. So they will save you time. They will save you dealer hassle. They get the same discounts and incentives that the dealers do, but you don't have to worry about all the hassle. You don't have to worry about all those documents signing, sitting at the table for hours and hours and hours. No, with DocuSign, you do all that electronically. It is the easiest and safest way to get a new car. Call them today. Tell them you heard about it here on The Horn. It's 346-9977. That's 346-9977, or go to appleleasing.com. Oh, yes, indeed. This is my kind of grunge. When I think grunge, this is what I think of. All due respect to those two other big dogs, this is what I think of. Soundgarden, Rusty Cage. Let's go. Come on. Little bad motor finger for the people. Oh, you talk about a rest in peace. We've been doing rest in peace all day today. Tom Petty got mentioned earlier. I can't believe we don't have Chris Cornell around anymore. I love him so much. He's one of my favorite rock voices of all time. Rest in peace to the great Chris Cornell. Go get you some Soundgarden today.
This is their most popular song?
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's either this or it's Outshined. Spoon Man was pretty big for them. There's some other, I mean, they had some big hits. I'd put this one right there. This is my favorite Soundgarden song, easily. And the Johnny Cash cover is still one of the craziest covers I've ever heard.
What year is this?
I'm going to guess this is Bad Motorfinger is 92 or 3?
Okay.
Maybe it pushes into 94 or something like that. Let me check that for you. Let me check a little Soundgarden.
No, I like that song.
Oh, dude, it's got such a good pace to it.
Yeah, I'm hit or miss with metal, but that Soundgarden song, that's fire.
It's good, right?
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Oh, my bad. It was the year of grunge, 91, late 91.
Year of grunge.
I was trying to put it into 92. They were late 91 is when that hit. Rusty Cage is the very first track on that album. Then Outshined. They have a song called Slaves and Bulldozers. I forgot about that one. Oh my God. Jesus Christ Pose is on that album. That is a seriously good record right there. All right. Soundgarden, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Culture Club, all on the show today. That is an interesting mix, kids. We got a lot to get to. Jeff Ketchum's coming up at 2:05 from orangebloods.com. Does he think Texas is beating Kansas? Is he picking Kansas to win? Ketch is always one of those guys that has a good, realistic approach. Some would tell you maybe he can bring out that cynical approach sometimes, or he leans more towards the negative. Sometimes he gets accused of that. But
nah, Jeff just keeps it real.
He's a realist. And that's what Brian Jones will get accused of, too. Brian, sometimes fans will get on Brian about, I can't believe you're picking against Texas. He's telling you what he thinks is going to happen in the game. But I do sense that a lot of people are liking this Texas matchup just when you look at that Kansas defense. For whatever Kansas is and isn't, I think we can all agree that TCU defense is a lot better than Kansas.
Yeah.
So forget about what the numbers tell you. Your eyes tell you if you've watched them. TCU's better than Kansas. Texas should be able to go and have, at least have advantages. I don't know, score 18 points or more.
Yeah.
Sorry, score 11 points or more on their side.
Score
18
anything way more than 3, actually, because 3 is ridiculous. The second half woes. Now in the first half woes. Hate to see it, but Kansas, they give up 33 points a game. 175 yards on the ground, 296 yards passing. So they're very vulnerable, and you should be able to move the ball up the field, but they do average 2 turnovers a game, so look out for that. We talked about Kobe Bryant earlier making big plays. Kenny Logan, he's another safety. He'll go in, he'll make big plays too, so they'll be out there lurking, but if you stay disciplined and hopefully this offensive line has a bounce-back game, hopefully Kelvin Banks and that hand injury isn't a factor, they'll be able to move the ball against the Jayhawks and get out of Lawrence with a dub.
Yeah, hopefully they will be able to pull that off. Remember, 2:30 kick tomorrow for Texas and Kansas. 10:30 is the pregame time. Longhorn Game Day brought to you by Bud Light. Aaron, Rod, Harge, they are going to be at Lavaca Street Bar right there on Lavaca, the original 405 Lavaca. Come on out there and see us for the watch party. All right, let's get to the flex segment, area round of the playoffs, and a player shout-out from almost north of the border. Here we go.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, Zay, we got pronunciation help yesterday. I said ganado. They said I was being too fancy with it. I was churching it up is what they said. What was it you called him yesterday?
I just said, duh, nado.
There you go. No, NATO. Right, NATO
it's
in
the
the middle.
NATO?
Yes.
Oh,
I
the
meant-
NATO.
Yes, there you go. So whatever you want to call them,
Like, we in the NATO tonight.
they whipped Thorndale last night, 66-12. Ooh, that one's the one that one over there in Bastrop. Geronimo Navarro won 28-14. Congrats to those young men. Flatonia got the win 56-21 over Three Rivers last night. And tonight, your area round continues. We've got all of our teams alive and ready to roll. It's 6:30 for the Flex pregame. They'll get you set for all the area action. Lake Travis and Cibolo Steel, revenge time. Steel beat them in the regular season, but it was right in the middle of Lake Travis having those quarterback issues. In fact, I think this is the game where Leon either couldn't play or was limited, and they had to go to a third-string quarterback, and that got a little confusing, but they almost won the game. They only lost by a touchdown to Steel the first time. So that's at the field in Pflugerville, 7:30 kick.
See you there.
You're heading out?
Oh, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah,
I'll be there.
there
After
you
what
go.
Leon showed me last week against the Round Rock Dragons, he was out there mixing like Mike Vick, Virginia Tech days, and he looked good. So I know they're trying to get their revenge on Steele, who has not lost a game. We know the type of players that Steele produces. Caden Stearns, Malcolm Brown, both of those guys went from Texas to the NFL. So they got players like that, and it's going to be a tough one for the Cavaliers tonight.
How about that? You know he's serious if Zay just made a Mike Vick reference without a dog joke. That's impressive. Vandegrift and Judson will be playing over at Kelly Reeves. You don't have to go far, Viper fans, to see your crew in the second round. 7:30 kick there, Vandegrift and Judson. And LBJ, they do have to go a little further. They're going to Katy. You got to go to Road Stadium in Katy, 7:30 kick, LBJ and PNG, Port Neches Groves, tonight. So best of luck to all the area teams. Obviously, that Westlake New Braunfels game is tonight as well at Rattler Stadium in San Marcos. Keep it right here on the Horn and the Austin Radio Network. Snoop and the crew will have you covered all night long. All right, Zay, so we've talked about in the Flex segment that one of the ideas of Flex is that they're trying to cover high school sports like nobody else. They're trying to cover all different sports. And I think one of the ideas is maybe, that this Flex idea kind of spreads out, and maybe we're talking to people around the area, but also maybe around the state. I got a tweet. Again, coaches, parents, all kinds of people jumping in the old DMs, including Coach Harley from way up in Sunray, Texas. Go Google Sunray, Texas. He's way up there in North Texas, almost across the big bad border, but not quite across the Red River. It is still in the state of Texas. And Coach Harley wants us to know about their quarterback. He is a sophomore named Armando Luan. He wears number 15. Zay, he is currently the number 4 passer in the country, regardless of class or division.
Okay, Armando.
According to Coach Harley, this sophomore in 11 games has 4,858 total yards, 64 total touchdowns. That's 48 through the air. That's 16 on the ground. He's got 4,081 passing yards.
Yeah, I don't care what division you're on. That's pretty incredible.
Come on now. So shout out to Armando.
And he's a sophomore. He has years left.
Right?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Still got some left. Now, this is a 2A program up there in Sunray, which, I'm an old man. I'll tell you that really means they're a 1A.
Here we go.
They changed those a couple years ago, right?
Oh, my gosh.
Sorry, 2A program. 2A program at Sunray. But
Hey, get out your BlackBerry phone while you're at it, huh?
I'm going to get a Chief,
Good grief,
Chief
man.
tablet and write that down. All right, but the other thing I will mention, let's give Coach Harley a little love for his Twitter profile. He is at Caleb_Harley if you want to give him a follow. He's at 853, so get him up to 1,000 follows if you want. Here's what it says on his profile. Sooner, we'll try to forgive him for that, Sooner offensive coordinator and head basketball coach at Sunray High School, Air Raid certified, just trying to hang a half 100 on everyone. Well done. Well done, Coach Harley.
Yo, on the court and on the field.
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
I'm with that.
That is
I'm with
awesome. Trying to hang half a hundy. Of course, in basketball, you probably want to go a little past the half a hundy, right?
Hey, I don't know. It's Texas, man. There's no shot clock. These games.
Oh, you're saying they maybe could.
Hanging half a hundy, you could be in good place with no shot clock. 32 minutes only. Texas basketball. Ridiculous rule, but yeah, half a hundy, you'll be in a good spot.
You and I talked about it, though. It would be almost impossible to figure out a shot clock all around the state of Texas, any state really, in high school basketball, because it would cost you too much ultimately, because you're going to have somebody run that shot clock.
Yeah,
right.
They have it in certain states. I know they have it in California, but I don't know the rules on it. And yeah, you're exactly right. There's so many schools in the state of Texas to have a shot clock and bring in another person. Pflugerville High, they've always had a shot clock in their gym.
Really?
And I always wondered, like, hey, Coach Murphy, the old basketball coach, like, what's this for? It was kind of like Coach Murphy was waiting for the day they changed it. And he was
They never turned it on, though.
No, it was never on. The real clock was on. They had a real clock connected to it, which that was the actual clock, but not
a blank.
It was
black
a shot clock for
waiting.
sure, and it was against the wall. I don't know if it's still there. If you know Pflugerville High School, let me know. So, yeah, it was cool. But
you're saying it was a shot clock for sure. It wasn't like some volleyball scoring clock or something.
Maybe, but it looks
like a shot clock.
A shot clock. Yes,
that is so great. Why is the shot clock there? You'll find out. Find out. We're just waiting on him.
Yeah, OG Murphy, who was at Pflugerville, his son coaches at Round Rock High now. So shout out to Lil Murph.
Very nice. Very nice. All right, so there you go. We tell you to let us know about those stories, about those players. And yes, we are in the greater Austin area. But if you are outside of the area, we know you listen on the app. We thank you for that. So shout out to Coach Harley and the crew up there in Sunray, Texas. I'll assume they're still in the playoffs. I'm not with numbers like that. I would assume they're still in the playoffs. Have to check the full bracket on that one. So send us your thoughts, your players. Remember, the All Flex watch list is going down to the top 3 on November 28th. Let us know if there's somebody. Who do you think? Go check out our All Flex watch list. Who do you think should be the top 3 at every position? Maybe we missed somebody. Maybe you think there's someone we're not paying attention to. Send us that. Remember, I'm at C Hastings 1049 on Twitter. Zay at @ain't_that_Zay where he is on Twitter. The station is at The Horn ATX, and of course at FLX ATX if you just want to let the Flex crew know about that particular athlete. It could be any sport around the great state of Texas that you think they need to know about. Also, a quick congratulations and best of luck to those 2 volleyball teams in the area going after state titles.
Let's go, Drip.
They play tonight, Dripping Springs in 6A and Liberty Hill in 5A. So congrats to all those players getting to that level. Let's see if they can finish it off. Final 4 of volleyball is cranking up tonight for those 2 teams. So Flex will be following that as well. Coming up next, it's Isaiah and Where We At in Society. He gonna let us know. And then Jeff Ketchum of OrangeBloods.com will let us know if he's picking Texas to win the game and what he thought of the Longhorns' performance against TCU. Stay with us. It's The Horn. All right, let's talk about AV helping me with my OCD. AV consultations help me out with some security system stuff, getting more cameras outside the house, things like that. That peace of mind has been really good for my wife and myself, able to just check it on my phone. I can check whether or not my garage door is closed. For some of you, that may not be a big deal. But for me, with the slight OCD stuff I have, that's a big deal to be able to check on those things. Also, right now I'm going through something where the garage door is broken. So we had to pull the cars out last night, but I've got the camera now where I can also see outside to where they were parked. So I had the peace of mind there as well. AV consultations can do all that kind of stuff for you. Plus, if you need to have 1 or 2 or 4 or 8 badass HD screens in that man cave or movie room or media room you've always wanted, yeah, they can do that for you as well. But remember, let them handle everything, whether it is the security cameras or the TVs. Let them buy all of it because they can get better deals than you can, and then they're going to pass those savings on to you and make sure you are completely satisfied before they're done. 255-8678 is the number, 255-8678, or check them out online at avconsultations.com. Like our man Wag says, they are the smart guys that never make you feel stupid. Oh, man. All right. Obviously, I see Will Ferrell and Chris Kattan, and the heads are bobbing back and forth on Saturday Night Live with the, what they call that, the Night at the Roxbury
Yeah. Horrible movie.
bit or
but
whatever.
kind of funny at the same
Oh,
time.
I'm sure it's terrible.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No. I have not sat through that one. The one thing is, though, I don't know if I ever knew who sang this song. Is this a big time act that everybody knows, or is it probably like a one-hit wonder, rare name?
One hit wonder.
Yeah. See, that's what I would have thought. Yeah, I don't know it. Who is it?
Hathaway?
Oh, see, I didn't know that. Hathaway. Like-
Haddaway.
All right. Hathaway. Yeah, that one may not stick in my head ever. Hathaway, Soundgarden, they always stick in my head. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers and Culture Club. It is a catchy tune, though. Oh,
I feel
man.
like Snoop Daniel would mess with this. Like, this is right up his alley.
This is just one of those songs, too. When you're out, if somebody dares to play it and you're hammered or affected in some way, you're going to sing that song. You're going to try to hit that note that you just tried to hit. You're going to fail, but you're going to try every single time. We hope you are having a good Friday, and hopefully your night will not contain that song. Hopefully it'll be a little higher quality than that. Maybe you're headed out to a high school football game. Maybe you're planning to come check out the watch party tomorrow at Lavaca Street Bar. That cranks up at 10:30 in the morning, 2:30, remember, on the kick time for Texas and Kansas. If you missed that weather report, cold but sunny and no precipitation, so that part's good. We're talking high 20s by the end of the game. It'll start at like 34 or something like that, and sunny at the beginning. Wind's going to blow, though, 15 to 20 miles an hour. We'll see what that does to Sark's plan, Quinn Ewers throwing, and all that kind of stuff. Jeff Ketchum coming up from Orange Bloods at 2 with more on that game. And again, high school football for you tonight with 6:30 on that Flex pregame. All kinds of action around the area. Best of luck to all of our area teams. Let's go where are we at in society and see what Zay's got for us today. Here we go.
Where are we at in society today?
All right, Zay, once again, I see something from you on my DMs. Is this where I click?
Yeah, get into it.
That laugh felt like an Aggie-hating laugh there. Is that
No,
what they didn't know? Okay.
no. This is nice, clean,
Ah,
wholesome fun.
Okay, go ahead with your wholesome fun.
All right. So a new movie is going to drop out next year on February 3rd. It is called 80 for Brady, and it is starring elderly actresses Lily Tomlin, Jane Fonda, who might be the GILF of the year always, Rita Moreno, Sally Field, and Tom Brady. So it's about 4 older women who are big-time New England Patriots fans, like ridiculously big-time fans, and Rob Gronkowski's in this movie, and they're watching the game, I guess, and somehow they feel like they need to go to the Super Bowl where the Patriots played the Falcons. I don't remember which one that was.
51.
Yeah. So they need to go to Super Bowl 51. They fly to Super Bowl 51 to see Tom Brady because they're huge Patriots and Brady fans. And yeah, that's the whole movie. So you're following around those 4 women.
Yes.
Legendary women, legendary actresses also.
Yeah. I am, if you're asking if I'm interested, yes.
All right.
I will probably go see this movie, may go do it in the theater, might go see this movie. Like, I could go see this movie with my parents, no problem.
Yeah.
Because they love all 4 of those women, and I do too.
Now, what's Rita Moreno famous for? I don't remember her as
Rita
much.
Moreno is famous for some big musical. Is Rita West Side Story? Y'all need to help me with Rita Moreno. I knew Rita from, she was on some kid shows that I liked, whether it was, I can't remember if it was Electric Company or Guest on Sesame Street or Mr. Rogers.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been Mr. Rogers. She did a fairly regular something or other on a kid show. That's where I locked into Rita Moreno. Sally Field, love her, and I love Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda. So
Yeah, they're all terrific.
yeah,
And Jane Fonda.
it is. If
and-
somebody say it's West Side Story. She's
Okay.
famous for West Side Story.
Okay, yeah. And Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin, they've been working together for a while for that Netflix series, Grace and Frankie.
Oh yeah, and I've never watched it, but I've
they're like
heard
8
it's
seasons deep in that.
Yeah, I've heard it's great. Those
It's a pretty cute, witty comedy.
Those 2 are good. I would also recommend to people, if you've never seen the movie called This Is Where I Leave You with Jason Bateman, where Jane Fonda plays his mom. and Adam Driver's in it, and Tina Fey's in it, and they all go to.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
They all go to
Yeah.
like mourn the loss of their father. Oh my God, it's a good movie. Love that one. And Jane Fonda's fantastic in that movie.
Isn't Jason Bateman in that too?
Yeah, Bateman's the main
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Bateman's like kind of the one that tries to hold that one together. It says that movie's what happened to Brady's marriage. Fonda. Well, come on now.
That was
sure.
corny.
I am sure
That was corny.
it wasn't Jane Fonda.
On another note, Jane Fonda, like I said, Guilt of the Year. Like if my wife,
she looks great.
She
right
looks
now.
incredible. If my
Yeah.
wife gave me a hall pass alley-oop for Jane Fonda, I would dunk it like Dylan Mitchell was doing against Gonzaga. Like, come on now. Those workout tapes that she had in the 80s, she still got it. She's definitely still got it.
Somebody says Rita Moreno, I was right, is Electric Company. Hey, you guys. That's where I saw her. See, you're definitely too young to remember the Electric Company. Dude, it was a great show. It was like this alt kids show. Sesame Street's rolling, Mr. Rogers is rolling, but the Electric Company was just this kind of wonderful little side project. Rita Moreno, I think that's the first place I ever saw Morgan Freeman, I think, was a part of it for a little while. Some like young actors that would go on to other things, but it was an educational show, but they were having some fun. They were playing music and all that. Yeah. Somebody says Rita Moreno won an Oscar, Emmy, and a Tony.
There you go.
The Triple Crown. Yeah, I'll check that movie out. Coming out February.
Sally Field, Miss Doubtfire. I mean, she had Robert Williams going in drag to get her back.
Absolutely.
And that family.
Yeah,
the kids. I want them, but I want you, Lily. I'm Sally Field. I'm sorry. I want you. I'm going to dress like a woman just to get close to you, and I guess the kids too.
I fell in love with Sally Field during Smokey and the Bandit as Frog. Like that's about as cute as you get at Sally Field. In those jeans with that face, Sally Field was incredible. And then all those performances later on. One of my wife's favorites, and I love it too. Turned my kid onto it as well. Steel Magnolias, she's incredible in that. Sally Field runs a scene in Steel Magnolias where she's on screen with some of the most famous actors you could imagine to have in the scene, and she dominates all of them in that. I get that graveyard scene in Steel Magnolias. She's incredible. Sally Field is awesome. In fact, Sally Field's been in some superhero movie lately. What was it? What was Sally Field in? I can't even remember. Anyway, she was somebody's grandmother in a.
Was she Aunt May? So one of the Spider-Mans?
Maybe that was it. Maybe that's what I watched. Yes, she is Aunt May in the Garfield Spider-Man.
Garfield Spider-Man.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about the cat. I'm like,
no.
They brought the cat in with Spider-Man?
Because in the Tom Holland world, they made it Marissa Tomei. Wonderful choice for Aunt May, by the way. That was awesome. And then in the Tobey Maguire, you had that older lady. I don't know her name, but the gray-haired lady. But Sally Field is the one for Andrew Garfield.
Okay.
That's big-time Aunt May right there. Who are we going to get as Aunt May? I don't know. Sally Field? Whoa.
Call her up. See what she's doing.
Okay, let's see. And
She's
I
still
think,
working.
and you know who I think Uncle Ben is in those? I think it's Sheen. I think it's Martin Sheen.
Wow, did they kill off Martin Sheen?
Well, you got to. I mean, Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man.
Spoiler alert. Uncle Ben.
Uncle Ben dies.
Uncle Ben does not make the end of a Spider-Man movie. If y'all don't know that, I'm sorry to tell you, but don't get locked on to Uncle Ben in any Spider-Man adaptation you see.
Marvel, they've already gone overboard with all the movies and the sequels and spin-offs and stuff. But if they make a movie on Uncle Ben during his teenage years, like somebody's probably brought up in the meeting because they're just thinking of ideas, I will lose it.
You'll lose it and never go see it, or you'll lose it because you want to see it?
I was just losing in general. Because they make so many damn movies, I wouldn't put it past them. Hey, what was Uncle Ben like in his 20s?
When he was living.
Yeah.
What was Uncle Ben like?
When he was alive.
What was Uncle Ben like before that miscreant Peter Parker helped take him out?
Just shows Uncle Ben killing spiders all the time. He was like an exterminator.
Oh, my God. That's fantastic. All right. There you go. Where we at in society? 80 for Brady coming out February 3rd with all those all those actors. And I'd have to check.
All those gilfs.
I'd have to check and see if any of them have actually reached 80. Well, at least a couple of them may already be there. All right, 2 o'clock hour coming up. Jeff Ketchum of OrangeBloods.com up next at 2:30. We'll tell you why November 18th matters to us, including the birthday of an animated legend. This is The Horn. All right, I got a little bit more for you to talk to your Twin Peaks girl about. I already told you to ask her about the Cowboys and those jersey giveaways all season long. Just for hanging out with Twin Peaks, you are going to have a chance to win epic Cowboys jerseys throughout the season. Remember, Minnesota is a 3:25 kick on Sunday afternoon. Ask your Twin Peaks girl about that. Also, ask her about the World Cup. Since that's about to crank up, Twin Peaks is the place you want to be for all the action. It's Monday afternoon, if I'm not mistaken, for that first Team USA game. So get on out to your favorite Twin Peaks for that. All the great scratch-made food, the 29-degree draft brews. You're going to have yourself a good time, win or lose. Get on out to Twin Peaks. And remember, since it is Friday before a road game, our guys are out there too. Rod and Harge coming up from Twin Peaks Stastny. Head on down south to see them this afternoon. They'll be there till 6:30 and have those man cards to give away and a whole lot more. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views, Stastny, San Marcos, and Round Rock. TwinPeaksRestaurant.com. Oh, it is hour number 3 on a Friday. Hour number 3 means it is Zay's choice on a beat. Zay, what do we have here?
This is GoldLink Crew instrumental. Very popular song about 5 years ago. I think it was up for a Grammy maybe, or his album, or he was. I don't know, but
Okay.
yeah. Very popular song. I love the beat. Still good to this day. It'll live on for a while.
It is great. GoldLink Crew?
GoldLink. The song's called Crew. The artist is called GoldLink.
Ah, there you go. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, there it is. Remember, Zay plays the cool beat. Then when I ask questions about the cool beat, you won't think it's as cool as you did to start with. So I apologize for that.
It's all right. We got
in
Thanksgiving coming next week. You're right there. Like, you say things to get invited to the cookout. You say things to get you a big plate, get you some stuffing and some cornbread and some baked macaroni, and then you get yourself kicked out.
And then I back it off. Then I back it off. Excuse me, Chad. Give me those greens. What are you doing? What are you doing? You do not deserve them. Get out of here. All right. Let's get to a little football discussion on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. You want the honest opinion? You want the realistic opinion? Here it comes from Jeff Ketchum of orangebloods.com at GKCatch on Twitter. If you're trying to get your follows together, Mr. Ketchum, how are you?
I'm good. I've got a million things running around in my head, and then you put the pressure on me to be, realistic and honest. And now I don't know where my head is anymore.
Yeah. Well, I think that would probably exemplify. That's a lot of Texas fans right now. I mean, there's been ups and downs in this season, obviously, with what they've seen. Some things they could tell you they would have expected. Some things they wouldn't have expected. Last week, a loss to TCU is one thing, but that version of it, there's no Texas fan on earth that would have believed me at kickoff if I tell them that's about to happen.
Dude, I lost hundreds of dollars on Prize Picks, which is a company that we partner with for like daily fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
I went so heavy on Texas and TCU players, just ripping it up.
Yeah.
And, I was starting to get cocky with this whole gambling thing because I had been on about a 5-week run, and I've always been like, I know what the Texas players are going to do, and I've done very well. Like, wagering on them? Oh, my God. I got my back broken last week. And so now I'm just sputtering. The thing is, Chad, with this Texas team, and I know you didn't ask a question, but I had this thought run through my head, and I think it's really important to convey it. I predicted before the season the Texas would be an 8-4 football team. So a lot of people are at this point in the season where they're like, okay, well, they're 6-4. They got 2 winnable games at the end of the season. They win those 2, they're 8-4. Isn't this kind of what you thought you would see? The thing about this team that I'm not getting correct, even though I may end up getting the season record correct, is that I thought we would see some buildup. So I don't know what I expected in September, but I probably didn't think we would be talking about a close Alabama game. I did, before the season, earmark Texas Tech as a very scary game on the schedule. But I thought that this would be a team that as the season went along, we would see gradual progress. And that by the time, my concept was better in October than in September, better in November than October, better in December, maybe, than November. And so that by the end of the year, we'd be talking about one of these teams that, is kind of at the bottom of the top 25, but nobody really wants to play because they've started to figure it out. This Texas team's been bipolar. And consequently, the fan base doesn't know what to do because they went after the Texas Tech game. They were convinced they're not going to go to a bowl game. 6-6 is as good as it's going to get. Then then they come back and they bounce back from that and they beat Oklahoma the way they do. And it's like, here we go. And then they lose the way they did against Oklahoma State. And then it's, we're terrible again. But then they went on the road in Manhattan and it's like, hey, we control our own destiny. Here we go. And then they lose last week in a game that everybody knew it was realistic that they might lose, but to lose the way they did made Texas fans question, what the hell is this football team? And that's where we are going into week 11 of this season. I thought we would know what this football team is, and that by this point in the season, they might be operating on all cylinders. They kind of go into Lawrence tomorrow sputtering, certainly on the offensive side of the ball. But even on defense, you wonder, is that group going to travel well tomorrow? Do you know for sure that Texas isn't going to give up 30-plus on the road? And you don't. And so it just makes talking about this team a bit painful.
Yeah, Jeff, I'm right there with you, man. I mean, I had them going 8-4 also, but you look at this roster and you see the highs that they have, and you say, man, this team, they're way too good to be 6-4 right now. But Quinn Ewers, he continues to develop, and he had another setback last week with 22 incompletions. And you think about
he continues to develop. Was that a statement or a question?
Yeah, you would like to say this is the he's getting reps. We'll say that, and he's getting experience. He's getting experience. Let's say that. I don't know if he's getting reps and he's getting experience.
Yeah.
But going to the development, you think about A.J. Milwee and what he means being the quarterback's coach. And I know he's a good recruiter and he's big on Arch Manning and him coming down here. But how would you look at him and how he's been with Quinn and Steve Sarkisian and just his input? Like, does he have enough where he could say things like, hey, Sark, maybe these downfield passes aren't hitting? Or where do you see A.J. Milwee, and how would you assess him this season?
I don't see him. He is the Vance Bedford of this staff, which is to say, not to say that he's a bad coach, because I don't think Vance Bedford is a bad coach, but he's the quarterback's coach in name. I mean, this is why they hired Steve Sarkisian, to be the badass super quarterback developer, and that's his role. And if you're not getting that from Sark, then you hired the wrong coach. So with all due respect to A.J. Milwee, who, like you said, instrumental in the Arch Manning recruitment, I'm sure he does day-to-day, practice and stuff like that. I'm sure he's quite good at it. But in terms of what they're getting out of the quarterback development right now, I gotta be careful about what I say. I don't want to get you guys in trouble. After all, they play the games on your station. If they get through the second season of the Sark era, and the quarterback position still isn't completely figured out, because the thing about Quinn is I think he's now played himself into a dangerous position where if he doesn't light it up in these next couple of games, you can bet your house that in the spring there's going to be a lot of Quinn and Arch conversation. And I know that's unfair to Malik Murphy and even Hudson Card to a certain extent, but I don't know if you guys know this. Arch Manning is coming to town. Breaking news! And Quinn's not playing at such a level right now, to say the least. I mean, if he had enough throws to qualify, I think he'd be 8th or 9th in the Big 12 in terms of passing efficiency. He's at 129 right now this season, which is kind of Tyrone Swoops, Case McCoy kind of levels of performance.
Oh
my God.
So it's imperative that in these last two games he play really well so that the narrative can be reset that Texas has a future star in this guy, and that the plan is he plays next season, and that Arch gets a red shirt, and that they kind of stick to what I think they thought 6 months ago they would be doing. If that doesn't happen, there's just no getting around the fact that in the spring and throughout the entire offseason, there will be a Quinn Arch thing that takes place. And this city, Austin, does not do well when there are two quarterbacks in the conversation. People pick sides. People demonize the guy they don't like. It's always this extremes that we live in. And Quinn's just got to play better. And he's got 2 games to end the season, and then obviously the bowl game will be the bowl game. But they've got to get him going in a positive direction, or I think next year gets really interesting, because if he's not playing any better than he is now, there's no way you can go into next season saying he's definitely our guy and we trust that he's going to be a big-time player, Texas fans are very much a don't tell me, show me group of people. And right now he's not showing that, even though he has obviously the recruiting pedigree and the arm talent that gets people tripping all over their tongues. But the performance, the decision-making, the mechanics, I mean, just this week, suddenly everybody is realizing this guy's a little sloppy with his footwork. And at first it was like, look at all the creative arm angles. He's like Pat Mahomes. But then you realize, oh, there's more to it than just being able to sling the ball all over the field. He's got to be a guy that picks up the offense better. He's got to be a guy that gets off of a one-read progression and can do more than that. And Arch Manning will show up, and I think presumably the thing that everybody believes he will do really well is he'll own the chalkboard. He'll be able to go up and show you what everybody's going to do on the offensive side of the ball. He will be able to make progressions. He will be a little bit of a different kind of player than Quinn Ewers, and I think that puts him to the minds of the coaches. If Quinn's not playing better, if we got to pick skill sets, what do we value the most? I think the mental side is the most important thing at the position, and I do think that's probably the area for me where Quinn is struggling the most. I know the mechanics you can see, but I think there were question marks back in August about how much of the playbook did he know. And by playbook, it's not like what he needs to know about himself. The quarterback has to know what all 11 guys are doing on every play. And I don't know that that's a thing that he's mastered. And look, you can see with your own eyeballs that he's kind of a one progression read guy right now. It's one of the reasons why he's throwing into double coverage on deep balls, because even though he sees that, he's not checking down. His eyes aren't allowing him to see other components of the field. He just knows first read, go long. He's doing that, and it's not coming off. And depending on what the defense is doing and the exact moment of the call, that play either looks like he's just overthrown the ball or it looks like he's throwing it into areas that he shouldn't. But I think that he's just not mature enough in those areas. Those are the things that he very quietly has to progress on in the off season. But at the end of his freshman season, from week to week, all of us are kind of seeing these areas pop up on a play-by-play basis. And it's why we are this deep into this conversation this week, and it's such a main primary focus of what we're talking about.
Talking with Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com. Ketch, I haven't heard anybody go with this exact angle, but you'll know why I'm going to ask it, because it involves the Bucks in a way. But this last week with the defense, obviously, if people are picking Texas, they think this defense will travel. They think what they saw they can trust from last weekend. Is there any part of last weekend with that defense that you'd put a little Super Bowl 37 label on because of the Gary Patterson thing? Or do you think that was legit defensive badassery and we can trust it?
I just think this defense has been different on the road versus at home. I mean, they were really good against Alabama. They were like, the TCU game and the Alabama game for me are very similar in that really good offenses, really high performance levels from the defense, so much so that you didn't exactly think you would get those performances going in. I'm a little worried about this week. If Jalen Daniels plays, his skill set is exactly the kind of skill set that seems to scare the Texas defensive coaches. We've had this conversation all season. Yeah. When they play guys that can really move around, they play a little less aggressive. And and it's understandable, right? Like, Daniels has the legs. He can pull off 100 yards rushing in a quarter. I mean, I have to tell Texas fans, they lived it last year. I mean, yeah. when that game ended last year, everybody was like, who in the hell is this Daniels guy? And why did he just do that? And then in early October, Texas fans were like, see, I told you last year that guy was really good. If he's back, he's a handful. And it will be fascinating to see how aggressive Texas gets defensively in coming after him. I think they're at their best when they are really aggressive. He's a dude, though. If you take a wrong step, if you take a bad angle, if you over pursue and go too far off the edge and you're too deep into the backfield, he can step up and the field becomes his oyster. and he can do a lot of damage. And so none of us really know. The fascinating thing is the backup quarterback from a passing efficiency standpoint, they're both like right around 175 for the season. So they're getting out of both of their guys really, really good quarterback play. To put that into perspective, that's kind of what Colt McCoy had like a 179 rating in 2008. They've got two guys right now that are in that neighborhood throwing the football. They're pretty good on offense. And so how does the Texas defense tomorrow square up with guys that if you force them to throw, they've been really good at that this year. And if you get too aggressive and coming after the quarterback, which is what I think Texas needs to do, you better be very careful, because if Daniels is back, he's breathtaking. He is at 100% and on his game. I think one of the most thrilling quarterbacks in college football. It's been a while since we've seen that version of him, and it may not happen on Saturday. If you're Texas, you're hoping like, hey, just hold off a week. Go do that against Kansas State next week. This week, just be kind of run-of-the-mill Daniels. If he is, I think Texas wins this game potentially by double digits. If that dude comes back, this could be a really squirrely game going into the fourth quarter, and everybody, I think, still has questions about what this team looks like in a 50-50 game when it goes to the final 15 minutes, because the scouting report for Kansas this week is keep the game close. Don't freak out if they score 17 in the first quarter. Hang in there, do that thing, and then take them into the deep waters in the second half, and we will drown them in the final 15 minutes. Every time Texas loses, that's what the opposing coach tells his team. Joey McGuire, I told you that at halftime,
Yeah.
this is what would happen. Kind of the same thing at Oklahoma State. Kind of the same thing with TCU. They always have this low-key way of insulting like the Texas manhood and pride by you find out, they just told their teams at halftime that this other team would throw up all over themselves in the fourth quarter. And when that happens, they feel vindicated. That's exactly what that coaching staff will tell their team. Just keep it close. And in the fourth quarter, we will be men and we will drown the boys.
Yep.
Jeff, this offensive line really struggled against TCU. I mean, I don't think they struggled enough to give Bijan Robinson 12 carries for 29 yards, but Steve Sarkisian clearly thought they did. We had the Kelvin Banks hand injury, and Kansas, they give up 175 yards on the ground. Will Steve Sarkisian go back to what the bread and butter is, and that's giving Bijan Robinson majority of the carries with a little bit of Roschon Johnson in there to help Quinn Ewers find his open receivers this week?
Yes. Texas is going to score a lot of points. They're going to be in the 30s at least. I think Bijan's going to have a monster game. I think Xavier Worthy's going to have the squeaky wheel monster game. So everybody's been talking about how Xavier's body language, rabble. That's for you, Chad.
Yeah.
They've been talking about Quinn Ewers, right? And it's like, they should be putting in Hudson Card. This week, everybody's going off. Kansas is awful defensively. Awful. There's not one metric that you look at from the Kansas defense and go, okay, they're pretty good. They're awful. So the weather won't be great. It'll be cold. I think the thing that Sark's got to be careful of is I think everything will work early in the game. So they're going to run. They're going to pass. It's going to feel like he can do anything and call anything and have success. But we know that Kansas will adjust because all these teams adjust. And then they'll get into the second half, and that's kind of been Sarkisian's kryptonite. I mean, they go into this game having not scored a touchdown offensively in the second half 4 games ago. There's 6 straight quarters. So you got to go back to that 7th quarter 4 games ago to find the game where Texas last scored a touchdown in the second half.
Man.
They've got to make sure that when they get to the second half, they lean into the running game and they're not just throwing it down the field all the time because they had success early on. I think it's important Mix it up. Do all your crazy stuff early in the game. Be committed in the third and fourth quarters to lean on Bijan in a way that you didn't necessarily have to in the first half. But when Kansas makes their adjustments, Texas has got to be a tough football team that leans on their best player. I mean, how many times have we said that this season? And look, Sark was asked about it on Monday, and he was like, I did that 2 games ago. And it was like, yes, you did.
Right.
You did not do it last week.
Right. You didn't.
So this week they've got to do it. Look, I'm picking Texas to win this game, but I do think, and I think Texas could blow Kansas out. But, I don't know what percentage that I think that could happen is. My concern in this game is that Texas gets an early lead, and then Kansas slowly but surely plays their way back into it. And then we get to the middle of the third quarter, and it's like, hey, Texas was up by multiple scores, and now it's a 7-point game. And then I think it's a dogfight the rest of the way. They've got to really open it up on Kansas tomorrow and steal their hope. This is a Kansas team that lost by 2 touchdowns last week to Tech, which, look, Texas lost to Tech too. So, right, let's not talk bad about the Red Raiders. But they're not playing good football. If Daniels comes back and re-energizes their belief, and Texas finds themselves in a fourth quarter game because they just didn't take advantage of the opportunities that they had to put it away, then tomorrow could get scary. So, I'm not telling anybody, I'm not telling you guys anything, I'm not telling the audience anything they don't already know. The opportunity to run away with this game will be there. Will Texas take it? So far, for the majority of the season, the answer to that question has been no.
Yeah, no doubt about that. That is Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com. And again, if you're getting your follows together for tomorrow, at GK Ketch. Always an entertaining journey through the world of Twitter with Mr. Ketchum. He's one of the original guys. He practically invented Twitter. Ketch, always great to talk to you, man. We will.
Can I get you on Twitter?
Pretty much, yeah. You got me on Twitter. You got me texting. I wasn't a texter. I was trying to avoid it, and then I realized, Ketch is never gonna know anything I say if I don't text him. So I had to start texting because of you.
It's true.
Yeah, it is you. You got me started.
That's a damn shame, Jeff.
Yeah,
that's a damn shame.
It's the truth, though. It is the truth.
All
right,
Ketch.
Ketch.
You have a wonderful. Hey, are we doing anything next week?
We are off next week. We do not. Well, because we got the game next Friday. So we'll probably take the Thanksgiving week. So happy Thanksgiving, and we'll talk to you, after things are all said and done.
If you need me, I'm available any of those days next week. If it's otherwise booked and you're trying to tell me that nicely, that's cool too. But understand that I am available.
Okay. If
you need me, I will not ditch you on a holiday week.
I have not done any rebooking in my head. Once I do that, you may get one of those texts. In fact,
because there's gonna be some people who are like, "Don't call me on the day before Thanksgiving." I'm telling you, you can call me.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you, Jeff.
I will keep it in mind, my brother. Thank you.
You got it, fellas. Have a great weekend.
Jeff Ketchum, orangebloods.com. All right, coming up, why today matters on this November 18th. And remember, the Ball Don't Lie guys are out at Twin Peaks Stastny. Get on out there and see them. They're going to crank up at 3 o'clock right here on the Horn. All right, this is Chad. Let's talk some Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy football. And I'm on a heater, kids. 2 wins in a row, including last night. I said I thought Derrick Henry would get over 22 rushing attempts, and he did. 28, higher than that. And I picked higher for Aaron Rodgers because I thought he'd have to come back in the end. I was right. I said 30 higher than 33.5. He had 39 passing attempts. I made an insured pick, so I got 2 of my 3 right. So I won. Done that a couple in a row. So I've got one put together for the Cowboys and the Vikings, and I love tight ends. TJ Hawkinson, higher than 42.5 receiving yards. Dalton Schultz, higher higher than 43.5 receiving yards. Dalvin Cook, higher than 79.5 rushing yards. Yes, I occasionally pick too many hires. Somebody I work with says you just pick the other way and you will win. But the last couple times, that has not been true. Get on in there and figure out what you like in the pick'em games with Underdog Fantasy. You pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total for your chance to win. You could win up to 20 times your money in a single game. Be sure to check out that pick insurance option for better chances to win. Sign up today with the promo code HORN. Get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with my promo code HORN to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. And if you want to go on Twitter at CHastings1049, you can see the one I put together, the pick'em game I put together for Cowboys and Vikings. Must be 18 or over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit www.ncpgambling.org. It's the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry. It's Underdog Fantasy. I think I know the name of the song. I'm guessing it's Slow Motion.
Yeah, that's it.
Come on. Should I know this?
No.
No?
Nah, I wouldn't expect you to know this.
All right, who we got?
Juvenile.
Ah, okay.
Juvenile, Slow Motion, right when he left. Actually, he might have been on Cash Money, but he wasn't talking to Lil Wayne and them.
Okay, now was
So,
Juvenile ever a part of a group or was he always
Yes.
on his own?
Yes, he was a part of the Hot Boys, which
Okay.
is a group with Lil Wayne,
Okay.
Turk, BG, and Juvenile. They were legends in the 90s, late 90s. Cash Money Records, Big Timers, Manny Fresh, and Baby, who I played the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Baby was the one who ran Cash Money with this big dude named Slim. And Manny Fresh made all the beats. They had their group together. Then the Hot Boys had Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG.
Gotcha. All right. Juvenile, part of the show today. We had Hadaway earlier. Yes, the Night at the Roxbury song is Hadaway, if you didn't know that. I didn't. I'd never put that one to memory. Soundgarden, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Culture Club, and earlier this hour, a great beat from Gold Link from, you said that was a couple years ago or earlier this year?
Yeah, probably about 5 years ago
Okay.
or so. It was a little bit.
That's a good beat. That was really,
I love that beat.
that was really good. All right. We've got the Ball Don't Lie crew coming up, of course, Rod and Hards. They will be out and about. They're going to Twin Peaks, Stastny. It's a really difficult job for them sometimes. Twin Peaks, Stastny. They're going to be hanging out with the Twin Peaks girls. Man cards, the $50 man cards they'll be giving away. The great 29-degree draft brews I always tell you about, the great scratch-made food. Get on out there, and they'll be there till 6:30. That's when we get you the Flex pregame and all the high school football action tonight. Right now, let's tell you why today matters. It is November 18th. Here we go. I'm going to have that in my head all day. Slow motion for me. Slow motion for me. It just won't go away. It's already in there. All right. So it's Mickey Mouse's birthday today.
Oh, wow.
Any animated characters that you care enough about that you'd actually commit their birthday to memory? Like, does that ever matter to you when they tell you that, hey, it's Donald Duck's birthday? Like, do you care?
I was never a big Disney Looney Tunes guy
Okay.
growing up.
So nothing animated that really matters for you.
No.
You didn't lock onto a cartoon as a kid?
Not really.
Okay.
I like the Goofy movie. That's about it. I love that movie growing
A
up.
goofy movie.
And that's because it seemed like all those characters were black. I don't know why.
Oh, I see.
I felt like Max and Goofy, like that was a black neighborhood. That was the hood back in the day.
You felt like you could relate.
Yeah, I can relate to them dogs.
Fair enough. To them dogs.
Yeah. Hey, Stacy, talk to me, baby. That was a part of the movie. So yeah, definitely.
They never really figured out. It's like we all kind of understood Pluto was a dog, but what Goofy was or is has never really been clear.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre.
Yeah, it is
very
odd,
strange. So happy birthday to Mickey Mouse today. Also, shout out to all you substitute teachers. Today is National Substitute Teacher Day. Did you have any substitute teachers that you remembered like through the years? See, you're kind of like me in that we've got teachers in our lives. You got your dad who's a famous coach, therefore a teacher as well. So for me, I can remember some substitute teachers. Do you have any you remember?
No, I don't.
Okay.
That's a shame.
Because for me, Miss Burleson was always my favorite, and I always made sure she got the proper amount of respect. They didn't step on her. And then Miss Davis was maybe the best because we could smell Miss Davis coming before we saw her. She wore this certain perfume, and I mean, it would creep into the walls of the school when she was nearby. You could literally, somebody was sitting near the door and go, hey, guys, I think it's Miss Davis today.
Huh.
And she's halfway down the hall.
Okay.
But she was a great sub.
Okay.
And Miss Burleson was a great sub. And so we didn't get our way with those two. Everybody else, we kind of ran the show, but those two wouldn't let you get away with it.
So you said that you didn't let nobody step on Miss Burleson. Were you the teacher narc?
I wasn't the teacher narc.
Sound like the teacher narc.
Yeah, I guess I kind of was.
Oh,
because I was a teacher's kid, and I had teachers all through my family. And when people would try to get a little sideways with a sub, I'd get on them a little bit. Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I just thought the teacher needed some respect. If you want to sit over there and not do work, that's up to you. If you want to not do work, that's fine. Don't go messing with people on purpose.
No, don't mess
You don't
with
need
the
to do
teacher.
that.
No.
Yeah.
But we all know when the teacher isn't here, the main teacher and the substitute's here, don't mess with the substitute, but you could cut up a little bit.
Cut up a little bit, yes. We just don't take it too far.
All right.
Don't take it too far. We're not trying to show up Miss Burleson. Can't do that.
All right. Yeah, I'm with that.
Because I knew Miss Burleson since I was like 4 or 5 years old. Like, it's a smaller town, you know. I knew who she was.
Is it bad that I just remember my attractive teachers?
No.
That's the only ones I remember. Well, and Miss Trimble, who looked like Elvis Presley in the 4th grade, but that's a different story.
That's a really different story.
Yeah, that's a different
weird.
story.
Give me the hot teacher. What was her name?
Senorita Flynn.
Ooh, good.
Yeah, Spanish class. I got all C's. Didn't pay attention much. Was just looking at her, and yeah. And then after the Horns beat USC in the Rose Bowl for the national championship, we came back the next day, and she had this big fantasy about Matt Leinart, and it was like erotica. It was some spicy stuff.
Really?
Oh, it was intense. She was like, oh, Matt Leinart. Because she was about 25, so she really dug Matt Leinart.
Okay.
And she was hurt that he lost the previous night before coming in on that Tuesday. But the way that she was talking in Spanish, and she would go back and forth to the English and Spanish, man, it was like Sofia Vergara or something like that. It was hot stuff.
Now I
Hot
understand.
stuff, yeah.
All right. Also, tomorrow, let's give a Longhorn a shout out. Marquise Goodwin going to turn 32 tomorrow.
Still fast as hell. Him and Gino, they got something cooking up there in Seattle.
He's fitting in, isn't he?
Yeah, he fits in at that third wide receiver. When Tyler Lockett and DJ Metcalf are locked up, it seems like he gets open and Gino hits him, and he's had a solid season.
I don't know how many Longhorn fans think of it. Do you remember the crackback block he threw against UCLA in the Rose Bowl?
I do.
Today, they'd take your scholarship. Like, they would throw you out of a game for 10 games probably. But, man, that's one. The Quan Cosby one against OU and that one are the ones that when Texas fans start talking about big hits and it's a receiver they're talking about, those two seem to pop up pretty quick, man. Marquise lit that dude up.
Yeah.
That was a great block.
I remember that.
Shout out to Goodwin. His speed is always on display. He's going to be fast. He's going to be fast when he's like 80 years old. He'll be able to outrun anybody even then. Seattle this week, what are they doing? They're off this week, so the speed's on a break this week.
Yo, those guys, those really fast guys, they play for a long time. I remember Ted Ginn Jr., he was in the league for a hot minute, like to his, mid-30s. And now we're seeing Deshaun Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens.
You're right.
And there's something about those track-like guys that can stick around because, they just have a different speed. So when they lose a step, that's a lot of people's, top speed when they come in the league. And it's been impressive. So shout out to Goodwin.
Yeah, they talk about you can't teach speed, but also it doesn't fall off the face of the earth that fast.
No.
Like, they gradually lose it, but like you said, along the way, they're still damn fast.
Yeah, especially if you don't take certain hits and you could stay out the tub and off of IR. Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, if Marquise Goodwin ends up like 80, 85 years old and he's in some kind of a like assisted living or some badass place like that, and he's challenging dudes to races and stuff, he's going to be busting legs and winning money. Can you imagine they don't know who he is, right?
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Oh, I don't know. He said his name is like Mark. He's like disguised his name. And he's just tearing dudes up. All right, Seattle, Miami, Tampa, and Jacksonville all taking the week off in the NFL. We'll get you stems and seeds before we get out of here. If you missed that update on the Cowboys practice report, it's got good news and bad news. We'll hit that next on The Horn.
I nearly lost my mind.
Monica.
Yes.
I heard the name, so I thought I'd guess it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, she was in her feels on this one. Driving past his house and stuff like that. That's not creepy.
No, not at all. Not at all. Less creepy when you look like Monica.
Yeah, if Monica's driving by my crib, I'll have that door wide open.
It's kind of a dream in a way.
Shout out to former Michigan State / Lakers player Shannon Brown. They were together for a long time.
Oh, okay.
I think they have kids. I think they were once married, and he blew it. Completely
messed
blew
it up.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough.
Just like my man, Booby Daniel Gibson, who messed up the Keisha Cole relationship.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he ruined that.
That's tough.
Come on, Gib.
That is tough. It's not
all
always.
right.
Yeah, no, you can't be 100%.
You can't.
You cannot be 100% in that world. All right, so Monica finishes off the show today, and we had Juvenile earlier, Hadaway, Soundgarden, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and Culture Club all on the show today as well, plus that Gold Link beat. We hope you enjoyed it all. We hope you will enjoy your weekend. Lots of football to get to, including the Cowboys. Let's get you a note there as we start stems and seeds. Here we go.
No stress, no seeds, no stems, no sticks.
Brought to you by AV Consultations, 255-8678, or go to avconsultations.com. The kind of bad news for the Cowboys, Anthony Barr limited in practice yesterday. Anthony Brown limited coming off that concussion. And Ezekiel Elliott limited with the knee. Will he play on Sunday? Not sure at this point. Maybe good news, Michael Gallup, full practice Wednesday and Thursday. Tyler Smith on the offensive line, also full practice yesterday. Here's the bad news. DeMarcus Lawrence with that foot injury did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. If the Cowboys cannot get pressure, Zay, on Kirk Cousins, and he's able to do whatever he wants, getting the ball to Jefferson, that's when it turns bad for Dallas.
Yeah, I like Trayvon Diggs, but this is a tough matchup for him. And we know Trayvon Diggs loves to gamble and go for those interceptions, and sometimes that could get him beat. Hopefully he can stay sound in his technique and have a good matchup with Justin Jefferson, because everybody will be watching that. But if they give the ball to Dalvin Cook, it could get bad.
Baltimore 6-3, trying to go to 7-3. Lamar Jackson missed practice, but it's a normal reason for him. He's sick again, Zay. I didn't realize since the start of 21 season, he's been out with an illness, missed practice 6 different times.
Yo, his immune system ain't the best. We talked about Kyler Murray on Hard Knocks when the rain came in, and he said, this is how you get a cold in Texas. Well, that Florida boy, he still hasn't gotten acclimated to that Baltimore cold right there on the water. And yeah, he's sick all the time, but hopefully he can play, because he's a lot more fun. Well, the Ravens are a lot more fun when he's on the field.
All right, Zay, Longhorns win in Lawrence tomorrow?
Yeah, barely.
Barely?
I mean,
do they cover?
No.
Don't cover the 9?
No,
I don't
like that either.
I got them covering by just a skosh. I got like a 34-23, 37-23 kind of a game.
Yeah, I would say 45-38.
Oh, you think it's a shootout? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be cold as hell, so maybe not that high. Let's change that. Let's
Bring it
rewind
down
a little bit.
Bring it down a little bit.
Let's go 35-27.
35-27 Texas. All right. And we both picked Minnesota to beat the Cowboys. You think they'll be a little bit better than Dallas on Sunday?
Yeah. I mean, what B. Lang said had me thinking otherwise a little bit.
God, I hope he's right.
DeMarcus Lawrence, will he be able to play? Will that be able to get pressure on Kirko, ice-chained Cousins? We'll see. I just think that team's rolling, but to what B. Lang said, that was a very emotional game that they played in Buffalo, where everybody picked them to lose at that point before Justin Jefferson had that crazy catch. So it's going to be a hell of a game. Cowboys favored, but I like Vikings, yeah.
Cowboys need to make that game as ugly as they can possibly make it. If they try to go pretty on pretty with the Vikings, they're going to get beat. They need to make that thing a nasty, ugly, rushing kind of game. Rushing, defense, turnovers, special teams. Don't let that game get pretty. The Vikings will win it.
Let me ask you, will all the running backs have more attempts than Dak Prescott has passing attempts?
Will all the runners... No, I don't trust Kellen Moore. Because especially if Ezekiel Elliott doesn't play. There's
Yeah.
no way if Ezekiel Elliott doesn't play because he will not trust
Make Davis
Davis
look
and the
good,
rest.
though.
Oh, I know. 6 or 7 yards of carry. Somehow it didn't matter. So prove me wrong, Kellen Moore, please. But no, I think Dak will have more passing attempts, and I think the Cowboys are going to lose. I hope I am wrong on both of those counts. You'll hear it all here throughout the weekend. Have a great weekend. Rod and Harge coming up from Twin Peaks, Stastny. Flex pregame tonight. All the high school football. Texas tomorrow. Cowboys on Sunday. Have a good weekend, and we're back on Monday for that Thanksgiving week. See ya!